normal intro because I was really too busy smoothing other things over to get it done. So, Ori? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I'm your host, Jordan Newman, aka Good Lawgic. They tell me I'm late because there's supposed to be a State of the Union that's happening right now, and I ain't getting started. I don't even have it queued up. I don't even know where it is. I'm not even sure what channel it's on. I'm going to have to go to YouTube and try to find it and do it really, really fast. Hope your evening's going well. My day's been a little stressful. Today. So I was feeling kind of down. I was like, about like the whole Fanny canceling. She just, I had a date with Fanny today. She canceled my 10 a.m. date this morning. That disappointed me. I was feeling all laggy and stuff like that. So I popped a couple caffeine pills. Apparently, one too many. All right, here we go. I do plan on pausing the State of the Union. I do plan on pausing, like, for little bits, just to like respond, because he needs a response. Sometimes Biden needs a response, and I don't think letting it play through and letting him go through for like whatever 75 minutes that he's going to go is really. I don't think that's the way to do it. I think I can finish like 3 minutes after everyone, and that the entire enjoyment of the process hopefully be enhanced. If not, why are you here, right? Hopefully. That's the point. I haven't started yet. What am I worried about? You're saying I took a nap. This guy's giving a State of the Union and he's late. I'm not giving a State of the Union. Look at all the blue ties here. I know you can't see anything yet. I'm going to share my screen with you. I'll be on the same page with you. Don't worry.
Extraordinary. It's 2024 in America. You saw that shot there of Senator Bernie Sanders there moments ago, just one of the many voices.
There you go.
Offering
advice,
counsel
offering
to the White
advice
House to President Biden, the Biden campaign. Mary, the president, just moments ago saying he's feeling good as he headed to the Capitol.
Oh, that's
the
good.
White House. Mary Bruce, our chief White House
24-minute lid.
It's really hard to underscore
gas him up in the middle.
Just how significant this night will be for President Biden.
This
how
is
significant
a
will it
huge
be?
And massively critical and pivotal moment for this president. He knows it. The White House knows it. The campaign certainly knows it. Look, he is down in the polls to Donald Trump. He is facing these persistent concerns about his age. He certainly knows well that everyone is paying attention tonight, not just to what he is saying, but to how he is saying it. His challenge here is now to take advantage of this massive audience, perhaps the largest he'll have all year, to try and change the public perception. He has to sell skeptical voters on his accomplishments and also show the American people that he is up for another 4 years. I mean, bottom line, he has to bring it in this speech. Now, the campaign feels that at this point in the campaign that the American people aren't truly dialed into the race, that they haven't fully registered yet that we're heading for this Biden-Trump rematch. They know these men, but the Biden team feels the American people are suffering from what they call Trump amnesia. This is the president's chance to change some of that. I'm told he won't call out Donald Trump by name, but it will be very clear who he is talking about as he lays out.
It's never clear who he's talking about.
Visions for the future of this country, David.
So Mary, not
he
expected
says,
to draw
Donald
Trump's name during this speech, but very likely to draw on contrasts between these two men.
Okay, so I have it there. Okay, I have it. We're not late. You're not late. No one's late. We're all on time. Okay, plenty of time. Oh, this does feel like a who's who of Washington, right? I mean, you see John Kennedy there. He's looking good. You see Elvis in the white suit there. Oh, I think something's happening.
Things like immigration.
Nope. This is how it should be. This is the clown in the circus. There you go. Mike Johnson. There's my boy, Mike Johnson. Gosh. Kamala's the first man. That's not like a made-up title. The second man. He's not even the first man. He's the second man. Trust me, he ain't the second man either. He's like the 19th man. Maybe the 87th man. He's the 87th man. The second man. What a crap name. Could there be a more cuck name then the second, you are the official second man of the United States. Gosney Raid! God bless you, Steve Gosney. You awesome man. You awesome, awesome man, Steve Gosney. Gosney Raid! So we're watching all the political bigwigs out there, like Sotomayor. Maybe someone's explaining to her what Section 5 of the 14th Amendment is, because she's very confused by it. Very confused by it. Oh, there's the woman with her hand up the puppet's speaking hole. Oh, God. And you have the white crew. Like, that's not the most racist way for people to dress in the world. Like, the whole Klan, like, gathering there. The women of the Klan gathering together. Unbelievable. All right. Oh, we got the clapping.
Speaker Mike Johnson, his first time in this role. Let's listen.
The president's cabinet.
Isn't that woke of them? To have a woman calling out?
The president's cabinet now entering the room. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. And Martha, just to bring you back into this conversation, of course, Secretary Blinken on the world stage and has been for many months now, not only with Israel.
Vegas is giving 30-1 on
that. Well.
If you're guessing he's going to trip on his way to the stage, between door and stage.
The humanitarian crisis
30-1
inside Gaza, and the president is expected to make major news tonight on Gaza.
Exactly, and what they want to do is set up a floating dock, a floating pier, so the U.S. can help get aid into Gaza from ships to deliver this very critical aid. People are starving to death in Gaza. You saw Secretary Blinken there. He has been so busy. He has been over so many times.
Ready to
Secretary Lloyd Austin there. We know he had some health problems. He did not tell the president he was in an ICU unit. He has made up for that.
He didn't tell. No one bothered checking up on him. Oh my God. The plastic smiles of Washington. There's Pete Buttigieg. There's an Asian chick. I look diversified. All right. Steve, you want to join me here as I critique this? As I critique the State of the Union? You don't have to, but I will send you an invite. Of course, they're celebrating. Let's get pregnant and kill the fetus. Let's get pregnant and kill the fetus while we still can. There's Ted Cruz. I met Ted Cruz. Next to Josh Hawley. I guess sitting in the Freedom Caucus section. Here is his woke cabinet members. That's what they're all coming down, the cabinet members. Oh, he still has a job, Mayorkas. Okay. All right, he still got a job. The Senate refuses to go forward with impeachment because they suck and they're useless. Useless. This woman looks like a Machshefa. What's her name?
Independent voters over in 6 battleground states. The prior election, 2016, Donald Trump was able to win over independent voters.
You probably don't know what Machshefa means, but that's okay. I think you get it from context.
I'm interested in those free agent Nikki Haley voters, and is he going to be able to win them over? Perhaps
he's classic. He's part of the unit party.
That 51% of them said that they actually approve of Joe Biden. 70.
Yeah, right. See, like I said, Machshefa. Is Pete Buttigieg a rhino? I'm thinking, yeah. Well, he's technically a Democrat, so it means Republican name only. But I will tell you that the difference between a rhino and Pete Buttigieg is that is whether you're pitching or catching, pretty much. There's really very little difference. All on the same team. All on the same team. Pete Buttigieg and rhinos, one team. One's a pitcher, one's a catcher. No. Maybe some shortstops. The children blood transfusions help. That's funny. That's funny. I like it. Clona Steve Dream Killer. That's a new name for me. I don't remember that one. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy as we pull up the First Lady the first lady next to Howdy Doody there. Oh, God. Go to C-SPAN feed. ABC is intolerable. I don't plan on actually listening to these idiots. C-SPAN, I don't know. Their audio is always off. They're just like, I don't know. I can't pause them. They're just, I don't like their video feeds. They're like a last resort. If there's nowhere else I can go, I'll go to C-SPAN. But I don't like C-SPAN. I'm not a big fan of theirs. So I don't plan on like actually listening to these idiots in there. Oh, Merrick Garland, there you go, here to destroy America for you. RSBN has the State Union and Trump's True Social side by side. Can we switch? That is a better argument. That is a much better argument. Yeah, we can do that. I can do that. That's a good argument. That was good. That was good playing right there. Maxine Ward is a very nice woman, even though she's constantly saying she wants to beat up and kill people on the opposite side of the aisle. If I ever said that, they would call me an insurrectionist and all hell would break. Oh, this is so much better. You're right. Oh, this is so much better. This is so much better. Thank you, Nicole Marie. Oh, I'm giving you super chat of the night so far. That was awesome. That was real. This was a great call. That was a great call. All right, nothing's really happening here. I don't really love the wide angle shot. Can't really see it. I kind of like them scanning through the different faces so I can like mock them more directly. More directly. But yeah. All right. There's more gavel banging, so I think we might be introducing him.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
Where? That's not me. Maybe it was me. Fair enough. Let's do it soon, though. It's been a while. It's been a minute. They're going to help carry him down the aisle. He's done. He really looks like the Crypt Keeper. Oh my God, I can't. How long is it going to take him to get up there? What's the over-under? I'll make an over-under of 2 minutes and go. 2 minutes for him to get down the aisle. That would be if he walks as fast as possible. He'll beat it. I have a dream that when Joe's behind the podium, one of those big iron 16-ton weights falls from the sky like a Monty Python. So yes. That doesn't sound very nice. Russian bot. Look at all those happy creatures. This swamp. They're about to start another endless war in Gaza now. God, I really hope they don't. Gifting 5 good Lawgic memberships. And since you're one of our original tunnelers, I'm gonna for this 5. For that. Joe Manchin was one of the most popular politicians in America, but then he, as he usually does, blew it. He approved the Inflation Reduction Act, and he was toast. Not recoverable. Oh my God. I miss having him on X. God. I think that's possible. That the only thing better than Trump's True Social is Joe reading Trump's True Social. You get my cackling laugh over after it's over. You must stop giving money to Palestinian people and help God's chosen. I don't even want you to help. Just stop helping the other side. That's all. Just stop helping them. Just keep your freaking nose out of it. Say Israel's got to do what Israel's got to do and move along. I'm totally fine with that. I'm fine with that. I got no issue with that. Don't play sides. All right, I don't know why Sticks is sending a rumor saying P is stored in the eyeballs. What the hell does that even mean? But he is now a monthly supporter. So welcome aboard, Sticks. I'm sailing away. I shouldn't try singing when I'm hoarse. That's not going to be good. That's not going to be good. I said 2 minutes. Even nowhere close. Nowhere close. Oh my God. Oh my God. Seriously. What are we waiting for here? Is the teleprompter not queued up yet? $170 House Dems voted against the Laken-Riley Act. Not up on the Laken-Riley Act. What is the Laken-Riley? Let's see what that is. Laken-Riley. I mean, know what it is. I just don't know by that name. Oh, after the Georgia Slate student. Oh, that requires detention of any migrant who committed burglary or theft. They're so sick. It's like my God. How sick in the head are you? That not only are we going to create a problem, but we're actually, like, if we can identify, and it's not even like it's the profiling. I mean, this is someone who committed burglary or theft. No. You can't detain them. Unbelievable. Clonetsville Dream Killer saying, my son's at West Point. Please don't start a useless war that has nothing to do with us. Amen. I don't want anyone to go. I don't want, God forbid, a single American should die in the Middle East. Don't go. Don't send him. Crooked Joe is making his way to the chamber. Very disrespectful to some. Not good. Crooked Joe making his way to the chamber. Very disrespectful to some. Not good. I don't even know what he's saying here. What does that mean? Making his way to the chamber. He's taking selfies. Like he doesn't even realize he's like, hey, I'm with the president. How many of these idiots does he remember? I think they're reintroducing themselves to him. Hi, I'm your sister. This is unbelievable. Who is assigned to represent Boebert to make sure she keeps her hands on her own lap? I see what's happening there. This Chuck Schumer. God, he looks like so wooden. I don't remember the president ever doing this on the way in. On the way out, yeah, but I guess they figured that he'll be like gassed by the time he gets out. Stupid Sotomayor and her doofy smile. Lena Kagan, Brett Kavanaugh, Gorsuch. And the neocon shaking his hand. Thomasine shaking his hand. Is Thomas even there? Probably, right? He's probably there. I don't think Alito's shaking his hand. Looking at that dude. I like they got Colonel Oliver North there talking. He said something funny. Anything? They're like, it's up here. Joe, it's this way. Joe, it's this way. Oh my God. That's probably it, by the way. That's probably it, that the crowd is pacing him to hide his frailty. That's a good call. It was a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. Gosh, not everything. I figured like 6 people would have gotten it. I was like, y'all too young to know. Is that Sebastian Gorka standing by the stage there? Probably not. Where do I go? Wow, that's loud. Oh, that's loud. Oh, that's loud. I think so many people shaking his hands, he might break.
Tony.
There's no Tony there. He just thinks he sees a Tony. Oh my God! Seriously? You know, in Russia, there was like a thing like whoever sat first, whoever stopped clapping first was the one Stalin would execute. So maybe that explains what we're seeing here.
Good evening. Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
That's pretty funny. That's not bad. We guess in 5 minutes it was 7.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice President,
That's pretty funny,
members
Lord.
of Congress, my fellow Americans. In January 1941, Franklin Roosevelt came
When
to
I
this
was
chamber
only
to speak to
60.
the nation. And he said, I address you at a moment unprecedented in the history of the Union. Hitler was on the march. War was raging in Europe. President Roosevelt's purpose was to wake up Congress and alert the American people that this was no ordinary time. Freedom and democracy were under assault in the world. Tonight, I come to this same chamber to address the nation. Now, it's we who face an unprecedented moment
Oh my
in the
God.
history of the Union.
Oh my
And
God.
yes, my purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment either.
I'm going to need a drink.
Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home
Oh my
as they are
God.
today.
You're the president for the
What
last
makes
3
our moment
years.
rare
Idiot.
is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and
Oh my
overseas
God. You've been the president for
at the
3
very
years.
same time.
Freaking wannabe
Overseas,
fascist.
Putin of Russia is on the march, invading Ukraine and sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not.
I don't know what the heck he's talking about. How are we attacking home?
But Ukraine,
I assure you he will. Where's he going next? What an utter lie.
Ukraine can stop Putin.
No, they can. Another lie. True lie.
Ukraine can stop Putin
They
if we
cannot.
stand with Ukraine
No.
and provide the weapons. that
First 113 billion didn't work. Why do you think another 60 billion will? Liar.
needs to defend itself. That is all. That is all Ukraine is asking.
And he knows the Uniparty will rise up for him and be like all excited. Yeah. Make us more money from Ukraine. Schmuck.
They're not asking for American soldiers. In fact, there are no American soldiers in war in Ukraine, and I'm determined to keep it that way.
Yeah.
But now, assistance to Ukraine is being blocked
Who's he?
by those who
Who's he
want to walk
squinting?
away from our world leadership. Wasn't long ago when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What does that have to do with anything?
Now, Now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, "Do whatever the hell you want." That's a quote. A former president actually said that, bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous,
Bowing
it's
down?
dangerous, and it's unacceptable.
You're unacceptable. I do want to say his speechwriters were intelligent. They were intelligent because this was a smart way for him to open. Look at he's opening to enthusiastic applause while he still has the crowd. He's giving the Uniparty exactly what they want, which is like, "We love Ukraine, we hate Putin, Putin bad," and tying Putin together with Trump. It's a smart move. It's outright BS, but it's a smart move. It certainly is. It's un-American, but these people don't care about you.
America is a founding member of NATO, the military alliance of democratic nations created after World War II to prevent war and keep the peace. And today, we've made NATO stronger than ever.
Why?
We welcomed Finland to the alliance last year.
Gorbachev tore down the wall. That was the whole point. Why did we even still have NATO in 1992? He tore down the wall. Why didn't we bring Russia into NATO? God.
And just this morning, Sweden officially joined, and their minister is here tonight. I'm going to stand up. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And they know how to fight. Mr. Prime Minister, welcome to NATO, the strongest military alliance the world has ever seen.
Oh, Lord.
I say this to Congress. We have to stand up to Putin. Send me a bipartisan national security bill.
Oh, God.
History is literally watching. History is watching. If the United States walks away, it will put Ukraine at risk. Europe is at risk. The free world will be at risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us harm. My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away. We will not bow down. I will not bow down. In a literal sense, history is watching. History is watching.
No, and that's not at all in a literal
Just like
sense.
history watched 3 years ago on January 6th, when insurrectionists stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger to the throat of American democracy. Many of you are here on that darkest of days. We all saw with our own eyes the insurrectionists were not patriots. They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power, to overturn the will of the people. January 6th lies about the 2020 election and the plots to steal the election posed a gravest threat to U.S. democracy since the Civil War. But they failed. America stood.
It is how it started.
America stood strong.
Powder keg from Europe.
And democracy prevailed. We must be honest. The threat to democracy must be defended. My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th. I will not do that. This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies. Here's the simple truth. You can't love your country only when you win. As I've done ever since being elected
I'm not
to
showing
office,
the other side of the
I
audience.
ask all of you, without regard to party, to join together and defend democracy. Remember your oath of office of defending against all threats, foreign and domestic.
You're really hard about
Respect.
domestic, that's for sure.
Respect free and fair elections. Restore trust in our institutions. And make clear political violence has absolutely no place in America, zero place.
You are the worst defender of free speech.
Again.
And that certainly is the road to perdition. That is the road.
It's not hyperbole to suggest history is watching.
Oh my God. That's exactly what hyperbole is.
Your children and grandchildren will read about this day.
They're not watching.
History is watching another assault on freedom. Joining us tonight is Latoya Beasley, a social worker from Birmingham, Alabama. 14 months ago, she and her husband welcomed a baby girl thanks to the miracle of IVF. She scheduled treatments to have that second child. The Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state.
I don't know how they do this. I don't know how they manage to prop him up for an hour and they can never get him any other time. The only time he ever sounds semi-coherent is when he's giving a State of the Union. And for the rest of the 364 days of the year, he looks like a drugged out, comatose gill.
Unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. She was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got through should never have happened. Unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer. Guarantee the right to AVF. Guarantee it nationwide.
Close the border. Do something about the border. Something. You have it in your power. Based on the bill that was presented, you have it in your power. Fix the damn border.
Like most Americans, I believe Roe v. Wade got it right.
Yeah. Well,
I thank Vice President Harris for being an incredible leader, defending reproductive freedom, and so much more.
Yay, kill the fetuses, kill them all.
Thank you.
God.
My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned. He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted. Joining us tonight is Kate Cox, the wife and mother from Dallas. She's become pregnant again and had a fetus of a fatal condition. Her doctor told Kate that her own life and her ability to have children in the future were at risk if she did.
All 50 states, before Roe v. Wade was passed, allowed women to get an abortion if their life was at risk. All 50 states today and for the foreseeable future. And they always should allow a woman to get an abortion if her life is at risk. But here he is basically pretending, gaslighting his own stupid following into believing that there's some conservative out there who wants a woman to die because she becomes pregnant. It's an flat outright lie.
Didn't act because Texas law banned her ability to act. Kate and her husband had to leave the state to get what she needed.
BS.
What her family got through should have never happened as well, but it's happening in too many others. There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need. Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away?
I see it.
Look. It's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following. And with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that.
Women are not without electric power. That's what he said. I gotta go back and hear that again.
Not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that.
Clearly. It's the 19th.
Clearly. Those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024. If you, the American people, send me a Congress that supports the right to choose, I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
Let's do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Idiot. I can promise you that's a flat out lie because he couldn't do it even if he tried passing it. Idiot.
Folks, America cannot go back.
Clapping seals.
I'm here tonight to show what I believe is the way forward, because I know how far we come. 4 years ago next week, before I came to office, the country was hit by the worst pandemic and the worst economic crisis in a century. Remember the fear, record losses.
Instilled in you?
Remember the spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus.
Because there was no police.
It took more than 1 million American lives of loved ones, millions left behind. A mental health crisis of isolation and loneliness.
Because we forced you to isolate?
My predecessor, failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to American people, the duty to care. I think that's unforgivable.
Oh, someone screamed that line.
I came to office determined to get us through one of the toughest periods in the nation's history.
Oh,
we have. It doesn't make news, but news in 1,000 cities and towns, the American people are writing the greatest comeback story never told. So let's tell the story here.
Oh.
Tell it here and now.
Oh, good. This is like go.
America's comeback is building the future of American possibilities.
Oh, yeah.
Building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down. Investing in all America, in all Americans, to make sure everyone has a fair shot.
How's that been working?
We leave no one behind.
For us?
The pandemic no longer controls our lives.
And yet,
the vaccines that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer.
I don't know what I'm
turning setback into comeback. That's what America does. That's what America does.
That's not what you do. That's what America does. That's not what you do.
Folks, I inherited an economy is on the brink. Now our economy is literally the envy of the world. 15 million new jobs in just 3 years, a record, a record. Unemployment at 50-year lows. A record 16 million Americans are starting small businesses, and each one is a literal act of hope.
Because job markets.
With historic job growth and small business growth for Black and Hispanics and Asian Americans, 800,000 new manufacturing jobs in America and counting.
No one under 30 thinks they'll ever own a home.
Where is it written we can't be the manufacturing capital of the world? We are, we will.
Well, when?
More people have health insurance today.
What?
More people have health insurance today than ever before.
It's about the economy. You're into health insurance.
The racial wealth gap is as small as it's been in 20 years.
What?
Wages keep going up. Inflation keeps coming down. Inflation has dropped from 9% to 3%, the lowest in the world, and tending lower. The landing is and will be soft. And now, instead of importing foreign products and exporting American jobs, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs.
That's exactly what's happening.
Right here in America, where they belong. And it takes time, but the American people are beginning to feel it. Consumer studies show consumer confidence is soaring.
Soaring?
Buy America has been the law of the land since the 1930s.
Yeah, nonetheless.
Past administrations, including my predecessor, including some Democrats as well in the past, failed to buy American. Not anymore. On my watch, federal projects that you fund, like helping build American roads, bridges, and highways, will be made with American products.
He's 3 years in and he's making promises about what will happen. What the hell are you talking about? The difference between this and 4 years ago when Trump gave his speech is that Trump was talking about the successes we had accomplished. What he's doing is he's basically saying, I'm not the one who's been president for the last 3 years, but this is what I'll do going forward. That's what we're seeing here, because right now the economy sucks.
And built by American workers. Creating good paying American jobs. And thanks to our CHIPS and Science Act, the United States is investing more in research and development than ever before. During the pandemic, a shortage of semiconductors, chips, that drove up the price of everything from cell phones to automobiles. And by the way, we invented those chips right here in America. Well, instead of having to import them, private companies are now investing billions of dollars to build new chip factories here in America, creating tens of thousands of jobs. Many of those jobs paying $100,000 a year and don't require a college degree.
Joe Biden with the he's losing steam fast.
In fact, my policies have attracted $650 billion in private sector investment in clean energy, advanced manufacturing, creating tens of thousands of jobs here in America. And thanks.
Yep.
And thanks to our bipartisan infrastructure law, 46,000 new projects have been announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in. I like it. I'm with you.
We're shipping it all to Ukraine.
If any of you don't want that money in your district, just let me know. Modernize our roads and bridges, ports and airports, public transit systems. Removing poisonous lead pipes so every child can drink clean water without risk of brain damage.
Unless we're in East Palestine.
Providing affordable high-speed internet for every American, no matter where you live, urban, suburban, or rural communities, in red states and blue states.
That's what we're seeing.
Record investments in tribal communities. Because of my investment in the family farms, because I invested in family farms led by my Secretary of Agriculture, who knows more about this than anybody I know. We're better able to stay in the family for those farms for their children and grandchildren won't have to leave home to make a living. It's transformative. Wow. The great comeback story is Belvedere, Illinois, home to an auto plant for nearly 60 years. Before I came to office, the plant was on its way to shutting down. Thousands of workers feared for their livelihoods. Hope was fading. Then I was elected to office, and we raised the Belvedere repeatedly with auto companies, knowing unions would make all the difference. The UAW worked like hell to keep the plant open and get these jobs back, and together we succeeded. Instead of auto factories shutting down, auto factories reopening, a new state-of-the-art battery factories being built to power those cars there at the same.
We don't have an energy grid to support it, but okay.
Folks,
look at that chick sitting there. Great face.
The folks in Belvedere, I say, instead of your town being left behind, your community is moving forward again. Because instead of watching auto jobs in the future go overseas,
it only became strong because of me.
4,000 union jobs
I got the
with higher wages are building the future in Belvedere right here in America.
We meant AA batteries.
Here tonight is UAW President Shawn Fain, a great friend and a great labor leader. Shawn, where are you? Stand up.
No, I said NATO has to pay its bills. If it doesn't pay its bills, we're not going to protect you. The money came pouring in. Under other presidents, NATO was broke.
And Dawn Sims.
That's funny.
A third-generation worker, UAW worker at Belvedere. Shawn, I was proud to be the first president to stand on the picket line. And today, Dawn has a good job in her hometown, providing stability for her family and pride and dignity as well. Showing once again, Wall Street didn't build America. They're not bad guys. They didn't build it, though. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class.
Wall Street built you. Would only invade Ukraine because he has no respect for Biden. Would have never happened in the Trump administration.
I say to the American people, when America gets knocked down, we get back up. We keep going. That's America. That's you, the American people. It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future is bright. It's because of you that tonight we can proudly say The state of our union is strong and getting stronger.
Ah, there you go. Strong. Strong. See? Let's see. Strong only got 6%. Biden will declare that the State of the Union is better than ever, 44%.
Tonight,
strong, poor, or the State of the Union is Pennsylvania.
About the future of possibilities.
Zach.
Together. A future where the days of trickle-down economics are over, and the wealthy and the biggest corporations no longer get all the tax breaks. And by the way, I understand corporations. I come from a state that has more corporations invested than every one of your states in the United States combined. And I represented it for 36 years. I'm not anti-corporation.
Oh, no, he's not.
I grew up in a home where trickle-down economics didn't put much on my dad's kitchen table.
Oh, shut up.
That's why I determined to turn things around so middle class does well. When they do well, the poor go way up, and the wealthy still do very well. We all do well. And there's more to do to make sure you're feeling the benefits of all we're doing. Americans pay more for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world. It's wrong, and I'm ending it.
Trump ended it. You ripped up his EO. He literally ended it with one EO. Trump-owned EO, which is America First Act, which said that Big Pharma had to charge the lowest price in America that they charge anywhere.
Not one of you Republican buddies voted for it. We finally beat Big Pharma. Instead of paying $400 a month or thereabouts for insulin with diabetes, and it only costs $10 to make, they only get paid $35 a month now and still make a healthy profit.
Yeah, it was like that on January 19, 2021, and he ripped up the EO.
So what to do next?
That's what happened.
I want to cap the cost of insulin $35 a month for every American who needs it. Everyone. For years, people have talked about it, but finally we got it done and gave Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices on prescription drugs, just like the VA is able to do for veterans. That's not just saving seniors money, it's saving taxpayers money. We cut the federal deficit by $160 billion. Because Medicare will no longer have to pay those exorbitant prices to Big Pharma. This year, Medicare is negotiating lower prices for some of the costliest drugs on the market that treat everything from heart disease to arthritis. It's now time to go further and give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices for 500 different drugs over the next decade. They're making a lot of money, guys.
And you keep coming back.
And they'll still be extremely profitable.
You've ever seen. That's why you keep coming
back.
Not
only save lives, it will save taxpayers another $200 billion. Starting next year, the same law caps total prescription drug costs for seniors on Medicare at $2,000 a year, even for expensive cancer drugs that cost $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. I want to cap prescription drug costs at $2,000 a year for everyone. Folks, I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but if you want to get in Air Force One and fly to Toronto, Berlin, Moscow, and even Moscow probably. And bring your prescription with you, and I promise you I'll get it for you for 40% the cost you're paying now. Same company, same drug, same place. Folks, the Affordable Care Act, the old Obamacare, it's still a very big deal.
I'm like one of those old guys on a muffler.
Over 100 million of you can no longer be denied health insurance because of pre-existing condition.
100 million.
But my predecessor, many in this chamber, want to take this prescription drug away by repealing Affordable Care Act. I'm not going to let that happen. We stopped you 50 times before, and we'll stop you again. In fact, I'm not only protecting it, I'm expanding it. The they enacted tax credits of $800 per person per year, reduce healthcare costs for millions of working families. That tax credit expires next year. I want to make that savings permanent. To state the obvious, women are more than half our population, but research on women's health has always been underfunded. That's why we're launching the first ever White House initiative on women's health research, led by Jill, doing an incredible job as First Lady.
What is she doing? What has she done?
To pass my plan for $12 billion to transfer women's health research and benefit millions of lives all across America. I know the cost of housing is so important to you. If inflation keeps coming down, mortgage rates will come down as well, and the Fed acknowledges that. But I'm not waiting. I want to provide an annual tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down, to put toward their mortgages when they buy their first home or trade up for a little more space. Just for 2 years.
No one's buying it's lower than it ever in American history right now. Ever. Because of your crap economy.
Is also eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages. When you refinance your home, you can save $1,000 or more as a consequence.
Who the hell's refinancing?
For millions of renters, we're cracking down on big landlords who use antitrust law, who break antitrust laws by price fixing and driving up rents. We've cut red tape so builders can get federally financing, which is already helping build a record 1.7 million new housing units nationwide. Now pass. Now pass and build and renovate 2 million affordable homes and bring those rents down. To remain the strongest economy in the world, we need to have the best education system in the world. And I suspect all of you, want to give every child, a good start by providing access to preschool for 3 and 4 years old. You know, I think I pointed out last year that children coming from broken homes where there's no books, they're not read to, not spoken to very often, start school, kindergarten, or first grade, having heard 1 million fewer words spoken. Well, studies show that children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school, go on to earn a 2- and 4-year degree, no matter what their background is.
4-year degree doesn't help you anymore. That's the problem. It really does nothing. It does nothing for you. The problem is that they're earning 4-year degrees and finding themselves
I met a year and a half ago with the leaders of the Business Roundtable. They were mad that they were angry. I think, well, they were discussing why I wanted to spend money on education. I pointed out to them as vice president, I met with over 182 of those folks. Don't hold me to the exact number. And I asked them what they need most, the CEOs. And you've had the same experience on both sides, though. They say a better educated workforce, right? So I looked at them.
No, they don't. They've never said that.
I come from Delaware.
They've never said that.
DuPont used to be the 8th largest corporation in the world.
CEOs never say better educated. No, they say more experience. They say someone with work ethic. We're not whining and bitching all the time. Someone's willing to come in here and maybe has a tiny drop of integrity.
Why are you angry with me providing you the opportunity for the best educated workforce in the world?
Oh, my God.
And they all looked at me and said, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I want to expand high-quality tutoring.
I'll take things that never happened for $1,000.
Every child learns to read by 3rd grade. I'm also connecting local businesses and high schools so students get hands-on experience and a path to good-paying job, whether or not they go to college.
Which they should.
And I want to make sure the college is more affordable.
Oh, yeah? No.
Let's continue increasing the Pell Grants to working and middle-class families and increase record investments in HBCUs and minority-serving institutions, including Hispanic institutions.
Federal funding, federal funding, federal funding. Always federal funding. Unlimited money. Just unlimited.
And I was told I could universally just change the way in which we dealt with student loans. I fixed 2 student loan programs that already existed to reduce the burden of student debt for nearly 4 million Americans, including nurses, firefighters, and others in public service. Like Keenan Jones, a public educator from Minnesota, who's here with us tonight. Keenan, where are you? Keenan, thank you. He's educated hundreds of students so they can go to college. Now he's able to help, after debt forgiveness, get his own daughter to college. And folks, look, such relief is good for the economy because folks are now able to buy a home,
no,
start
they can't.
a business, start a family.
No one can buy a home. That's the problem.
While we're at it, I want to give public school teachers a raise.
How is that a federal issue? How is that a federal issue? Tell me. Walk me through that.
And by the way, the first couple of years, we cut the deficit. Now, let me speak to the question of fundamental fairness for all Americans. I've been delivering real results in fiscally responsible ways. We've already cut the federal deficit. We've already cut the federal deficit over $1 trillion. I signed the bipartisan deal.
What?
To cut another $1 trillion in the next decade.
Really?
It's my goal to cut the federal deficit another $3 trillion by making big corporations very wealthy finally beginning to pay their fair share.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Federal gas bills.
Look, I'm a capitalist. You want to make or can make $1 million or millions of bucks? That's great. Just pay your fair share in taxes. A fair tax code.
You made the tax code last.
It's how we invest things to make this country great. Healthcare, education, defense, and so much more.
Oh my God!
But here's
you made
the deal.
The tax code for 50 years.
The last administration enacted a $2 trillion tax cut, overwhelmingly benefit the top 1%, the very wealthy, the biggest corporations, and exploded the federal deficit. They added more to the national debt than any presidential term in American history. Check the numbers.
No, they're being.
Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair?
You made the code.
Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break? I sure don't. I'm going to keep fighting like hell to make it fair. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay an additional penny in federal taxes. Nobody, not one penny. And they haven't yet. In fact, the child tax credit I passed during the pandemic cut taxes for millions of working families and cut child poverty in half. Restore that child tax credit. No child should go hungry in this country. The way to make the tax code fair is to make big corporations and the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share.
Oh. No.
Remember in 2020,
what's that number?
55 of the biggest companies in America made $40 billion and paid zero in federal income tax. Zero. Not anymore. Thanks to the law I wrote and we signed, big companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. But that's still less than working people pay in federal taxes. It's time to raise corporate minimum tax to at least 21%.
Inflation drove down the value of the dollar.
So every big corporation finally begins to pay their fair share. I also want to end tax breaks for big pharma, big oil, private jets, massive executive pay when it's only supposed to be $1 million that can be deducted. They can pay them $20 million if they want, but deduct $1 million. End it now. You know, there are 1,000 billionaires in America. You know what the average federal tax is for those billionaires? No. They're making great sacrifices, 8.2%. That's far less than the vast majority of Americans pay. No billionaire should pay a lower federal tax rate than a teacher, a sanitation worker, or a nurse.
What a gaslight. What a gaslight. Everyone agrees with that. That's what's happening.
I propose a minimum tax for billionaires of 25%, just 25%. You know what that would raise? That would raise $500 billion over the next 10 years. And imagine what that could do for America.
Imagine what that could do for
Imagine
Ukraine.
a future with affordable child care. Millions of families can get they need to go to work to help grow the economy. Imagine a future with paid leave, because no one should have to choose between working and taking care of their sick family member. Imagine a future of home care and elder care, and people living with disabilities so they can stay in their homes and family caregivers can finally get the pay they deserve. Tonight, let's all agree once again
tax code
to stand up for seniors.
Where were you?
Many of my friends
Now the next 4 years.
on the other side of the aisle want to put Social Security on the chopping block. If anyone here tries to cut Social Security, Medicare, or raise the retirement age, I will stop you.
Rana, I told my daughter to take a loan because I said, this idiot will forgive it. I said, it's free money.
Built this country. Pay more into Social Security than millionaires and billionaires do. It's not fair. We have two ways to go. Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. That's the proposal. Oh no, you guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what your plan was. Well, that's good to hear. You're not going to cut another $2 trillion for the super wealthy. That's good to hear.
Lies. Flat out lies.
I'll protect and strengthen Social Security and make the wealthy pay their fair share.
What is that? What's the fair share?
Look,
Is there an answer to that? Why didn't you do that for 45 years?
too many corporations raise prices to pad their profits, charging more and more for less and less. That's why we're cracking down on corporations that engage in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to healthcare to housing. In fact, the snack companies think you won't notice if they change the size of the bag and put a hell of a lot fewer, same size bag,
Ice cream companies
put fewer
doing
chips
that
in it.
for 15 years.
No, I'm not joking.
No, I'm not
It's
joking.
called shrinkflation. Pass Bobby Casey's bill and stop this. I really mean it.
The drugs are wearing off. Donald's right. The drugs are wearing off. Yep, that's exactly right,
Saw
Rana.
that commercial on Snickers bar.
The tax on the poor. You raise corporate
You get,
taxes, the
you
tax
get
on the poor.
charged the same amount, and you got about 10% fewer Snickers in it.
More inflation, more inflation, more inflation. People wonder why we have
Look,
high inflation.
I'm also getting rid of junk fees. Those hidden fees
Amen.
at the end of your bill that are there without your knowledge. My administration announced we're cutting credit card late fees from $32 to $8. Banks and credit card companies are allowed to charge what it costs them to instigate the collection.
Uh-oh, what?
And that's more a hell of a lot, like $8 and 30 some dollars.
Uh-oh, what?
They don't like it. Credit card companies don't like it. But I'm saving American families $20 billion a year with all the junk fees I'm eliminating.
That'd be a
Folks
good
at
start.
home,
That'd be a good start.
that's why the banks are so mad. It's $20 billion in profit. I'm not stopping there. My administration has proposed rules to make cable, travel, utilities, and online ticket sellers tell you the total price up front, so there are no surprises.
Why aren't they showing the Republicans?
It
how to
matters.
move? He's right. Why
It
aren't they
matters.
showing that?
And so does this. In November, my team
When Trump
began
spoke, we
serious
always told the
negotiations with a
Democrats side.
bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill
We always
with
saw
the toughest set of
AOC
border security
frowning.
reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so?
Why don't you show the Republicans?
Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill?
Look at Mike Johnson.
I'll be darned. That's amazing. That bipartisan bill would hire 1,500 more security agents and officers, 100 more immigration judges.
It would also mandate the borders open
of 2
forever.
million cases, 4,300 more asylum officers, and new policies so they can resolve cases in 6 months instead of 6 years now.
And that would just keep the border open forever.
What are you
Shut
against?
the freaking border. Shut the border.
100 more high-tech drug detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop vehicles smuggling fentanyl into America. That's killing thousands of children. This bill would save lives. And bring order to the border. It will also give me and any new president
Amen.
new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming. The Border Patrol Union has endorsed this bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts. I know you know how to read. I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now.
You're tearing
But
down
unfortunately,
the border in Texas.
politics has derailed this bill so far. I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress in the Senate to demand they block the bill. He feels political win. He viewed it as
That's
a
why.
political win for me and
Literally
a political loser for
mandated.
him. It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really. Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself.
Oh, really?
I
Oh,
understand.
You don't understand
But look,
anything.
if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by, and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing.
That's not
And it's
why.
worth you taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 months, 6
It's not good
weeks,
for him. 6
the
weeks.
idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way, knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly.
Oh my God,
Folks,
he's losing it. He's totally losing it. He's engaging in politics.
I would respectfully suggest my Republican friends owe it to the American people, get this bill done.
Oh my
We need
God.
to act now.
That bill would literally destroy the border forever.
And if my predecessor is watching,
Are they chanting we
instead
want
of
Trump?
playing politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in telling the Congress to pass it. We can do it together. But that's what he apparently here's what he will not do. I will not demonize immigrants
agree.
saying they are poison in the blood of our country. I will not separate families.
Rose on the
I will
ropes here.
not
He's on the rope.
ban people because of their faith. Unlike my predecessor on my first day in office, I introduced a comprehensive bill to fix our immigration system. Take a look at it. It has all these and more.
No, we
Secure
just
the
take a look at
border.
it. It's a disaster.
Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, and so much more.
Oh my God.
But unlike my
Made
predecessor,
15 million dreamers. Jackass.
I know who we are as Americans. We're the only nation in the world with a heart and soul that draws from old and new. Home to Native Americans, whose ancestors have been here for thousands of years. Home to people of every place, from every place on earth. They came freely. Some came in chains. Some came when famine struck, like my ancestral family in Ireland. Some to flee persecution, to chase dreams that are impossible anywhere but here in America. That's America. And we all come from somewhere. But we're all Americans.
Yeah, apparently everyone on the globe is American. Idiot. We have 15 million new Americans.
Folks, we have a simple choice. We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it. I'm ready to fix it. Send me the border bill now. A transformational moment in history.
It's always about the trans.
Happened 59 years ago today in Selma, Alabama.
Oh, God.
Hundreds of foot soldiers for justice marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, named after the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, to claim their fundamental right to vote. They were beaten, they were bloody, and left for dead. Our late friend and former colleague, John Lewis, was on that march. We miss him. But joining us tonight are other marchers, both in the gallery and on the floor, including Betty Mae Fikes, known as the voice of Selma. The daughter of gospel singers and preachers, she sang songs of prayer and protest on that bloody Sunday to help shake the nation's conscience. 5 months later, the Voting Rights Act passed and was signed into law. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, that's why so nice to give an election. He's supposed to give more than anyone.
But 59 years later, there are forces taking us back in time. Voter suppression, election subversion, unlimited dark money, extreme gerrymandering. John Lewis was a great friend to many of us here. But if you truly want to honor him and all the heroes who marched with him, then it's time to do more than talk. Pass the Freedom to Vote Act.
Oh my God.
The John Lewis Voting Rights Act.
Make sure any illegal alien who came in over the last 3 years can vote.
And stop denying another core value of America.
It would have helped.
Our diversity across American life. Banning books, it's wrong. Instead of erasing history, let's make history.
Oh my God.
I want to protect fundamental rights.
In schools.
Pass the Equality Act. And my message to transgender Americans, I have your back. Pass the PRO Act for workers' rights. Raise the federal minimum wage, because every worker has a right to a decent living more than $7 an hour.
They'll all be broke. They just have to pay more. They'll only drive up inflation more.
By confronting the climate crisis, not denying it.
Oh my God, I'm so sick of these.
I don't think any of you think there's no longer a climate crisis.
Reinvent over and over again.
At least I hope you don't. I'm taking the most significant action ever on climate in the history of the world.
It's a hoax.
I'm cutting our carbon emissions in half by 2030.
It's a hoax, and we'll make
creating tens of thousands of clean energy jobs, like the IBEW work is building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations. Conserving
we don't have
30% of America's lands and waters by 2030. And taking action on environmental justice fence line communities smothered by the legacy of pollution. And pattern after the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps, I launched the Climate Corps to put 20,000 young people to work in the forefront of our clean energy future. I'll triple that number in a decade.
Really? You just be alive in a decade? Why haven't you done this in the first 3 years?
State the obvious. All Americans
That's what I'm saying. This is
deserve the freedom to be safe.
Of someone who's running against.
And America is safer today than when I took office. Year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up.
I want to hear what that guy's saying.
the biggest increase in
I
history.
need to hear what that guy said. Sorry.
Before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then, through my American Rescue Plan, which every American voted against, I might add, we made the largest investment in public safety.
That's not me.
The sharpest decrease in history. Violent crime fell to one of its lowest levels in more than 50 years. But we have more to do. We have to help cities invest in more community police officers, more mental health workers, more community violence.
Even when they're yelling.
Give communities the tool to crack down on gun crime, retail crime, and carjacking.
They won't show us.
Keep building trust, as I've been doing by taking executive action on police reform and calling for it to be the law of the land. Directing my cabinet to review the federal classification of marijuana and expunging thousands of convictions for the mere possession, because no one should be jailed for simply using or having it on their record. Take on crimes of domestic violence. I'm ramping up the federal enforcement of the Violence Against Women Act that I proudly wrote when I was a senator, so we can finally end the scourge against women in America.
The scourge against
There are other kinds of violence I want to stop. With us tonight is Jasmine, whose 9-year-old sister Jackie was murdered with 21 classmates and teachers in an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Very soon after that happened, Jill and I went to Uvalde for a couple of days. We spent hours and hours with each of the families. We heard their message, so everyone in this room, in this chamber, could hear the same message.
That's very kind of you.
The constant refrain, and I was there for hours meeting with every family. They said, do something.
They didn't say
do something.
No one said that to you. This never happened.
Well, I did do something by establishing the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House, that the Vice President is leading a charge.
What about no more eat off in the White House? What about no more crack in the White House?
Meanwhile,
there's no more crack in the White House. No more gun violence in the White House. Look, if you're thinking about gun violence in the White House, I recommend against it.
My predecessor told the NRA he's proud he did nothing on guns when he was president. Oh. After another shooting in Iowa recently, he said, when asked what to do about it, he said, just get over it. There's his quote, just get over it.
Whose quote?
I say, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it.
Well, you don't want to have police. Who's stopping it? You want to get rid of police.
I'm proud we beat the NRA when I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 30 years because of this Congress. We now must beat the NRA again. I'm demanding a ban on assault weapons and...
I just want to point out, I know you guys don't want me to pause so much. Donald Trump said other countries are laughing at our stupidity on climate. The green news scam is destroying our economy in our country. I said yesterday we need to stop ceding ground on the climate hoax. Stop ceding ground. Call it out for what it is.
High Capacity Magazine. Pass universal background checks. None of this. None of this. I taught the Second Amendment for 12 years. None of this violates the Second Amendment or vilifies responsible gun owners.
The Supreme Court disagreed with you.
You know, as we manage challenges at home, we're also managing crises abroad, including in the Middle East.
Maybe that's the law.
I know the last 5 months have been gut-wrenching for so many people, for the Israeli people, for the Palestinian people, and so many here in America. This crisis began on October 7th with a massacre by a terrorist group called Hamas, as you all know. 1,200 innocent people, women and girls, men and boys, slaughtered after enduring sexual violence.
I guess that's consistent with the way
the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust, and 250 hostages taken.
Still over
here in this chamber tonight are families whose loved ones are still being held by Hamas.
Yeah.
I pledge to all the families that we will not rest until we bring every one of your loved ones home.
Yeah.
We also
That's really not rest. That's what Israel do that they need to do.
You don't need to. You don't need to do anything more. Just let Israel do what they need to do.
We will also work around the clock to bring home Evan and Paul, Americans being unjustly detained by the Russians and others around the world. Israel has the right to go after Hamas.
Oh, that's what yanked it off.
Down arms could end it by releasing the hostages, laying down arms, and surrendering those responsible. But Israel has Israel has a added burden because Hamas hides and operates.
Why is this the part that's cutting out?
Under hospitals, daycare centers, and all the like. Israel also has a fundamental responsibility, though, to protect innocent citizens of Gaza. This war has taken a greater toll on innocent civilians than all previous wars in Gaza combined. 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of whom are not Hamas. Thousands and thousands of innocent women and children also orphaned. Nearly 2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement. Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin.
I knew he was going to
walk. Families without food, water, medicine. It's heartbreaking. I've been working nonstop to establish an immediate ceasefire that would last for 6 weeks to get all the prisoners released.
You want ceasefire in the Middle East, you need Trump.
To get the hostages home and ease the intolerable and humanitarian crisis and build toward an enduring, something more enduring. The United States has been leading international efforts to get more humanitarian assistance to Gaza.
When have you ever led towards peace?
I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza.
Oh, my God.
That can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. No U.S. boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable a massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day.
The reason they don't have what they need is the leaders don't let them have it.
And Israel must do its part. Israel must allow more aid into Gaza to ensure humanitarian workers aren't caught in the crossfire.
Egypt has to allow more aid.
They're announcing they're going to.
Doesn't Egypt have to allow more aid?
They're going to have a crossing in northern Gaza.
What about southern
Gaza? The leadership of Israel, I say this: humanitarian assistance cannot be a secondary consideration or a bargaining chip. Protecting and saving innocent lives has to be priority.
Hand it to the pro-Israel.
As we look to the future,
the Palestinians.
The only real solution
to
the situation
is
a two-state solution over time. And I say this as a lifelong supporter of Israel.
So sick of this guy.
My entire career, no one has a stronger record with Israel than I do. I challenge any of you here.
I think Jesus.
I'm the only American president of Israel in wartime.
You does.
But there is no other path
Mike Johnson
that guarantees Israel's security and democracy. There is no other path that guarantees Palestinians can live in peace with peace and dignity.
They could have lived with
There's no other path that guarantees peace between Israel and all of its neighbors, including Saudi Arabia, with whom I'm talking. Creating stability in the Middle East also means containing the threat posed by Iran. That's why I built a coalition of more than a dozen countries to defend international shipping and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. I've ordered strikes to degrade the Houthi capability and defend U.S. forces in the region. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and our military personnel. For years, I've heard many of my Republican and Democratic friends say that China is on the rise and America is falling behind. They've got it backwards.
Oh, yeah.
I've been saying it for over 4 years, even when I wasn't president. America's rising.
Under Trump.
We have the best economy in the world. And since I've come to office, our GDP is up, our trade deficit with China is down to the lowest point in over a decade.
Negotiated.
And we're standing up against China's unfair economic practices.
How so?
We're standing up for peace and stability across the Taiwan Straits.
Tell us.
I've revitalized our partnership and alliance in the Pacific. India, Australia, Japan, South Korea, Pacific Islands. I've made sure that the most advanced American technologies can't be used in China.
Unless we
not
leave them
allowing
behind in
trade them there.
Afghanistan.
Frankly, for all this tough talk on China, it never occurred to my predecessor to do any of that. I want competition with China, not conflict. And we're in a stronger position to win the conflict of the 21st century against China than anyone else, for that matter, than any time as well. Here at home, I've signed over 400 bipartisan bills. There's more to pass my unity agenda. Strengthen penalties on fentanyl trafficking. You don't want to do that, huh? Pass bipartisan privacy legislation to protect our children online. Harness the promise of AI to protect us from peril. Ban AI voice impersonations and more. And keep our truly sacred obligation to train and equip those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they come home and when they don't. That's why the song Support and Help of Dennis and the VA, I signed the PACT Act. One of the most significant laws ever. Helping millions of veterans exposed to toxins who now are battling more than 100 different cancers. Many of them don't come home, but we owe them and their families support. We owe it to ourselves to keep supporting our new health research agency called ARPA-H. And remind us that we can do big things like end cancer as we know it, and we will. Let me close with this. Yay! I know you don't want to hear any more, Lindsay, but I got to say a few more things. I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while. When you get to be my age, certain things become clearer than ever.
Oh, really?
I know the American story.
Like the Grim Reaper?
Again and again, I've seen the contest between competing forces in the battle for the soul of our nation. Between those who want to pull America back to the past and those who want to move America into the future.
Oh, Lord.
My lifetime has taught me to embrace freedom and democracy, a future based on core values that have defined America: honesty, decency, dignity, equality, to respect everyone, to give everyone a fair shot, to give hate no safe harbor. Now, other people my age see it differently. The American story of resentment, revenge, and retribution, that's not me. I was born amid World War II when America stood for the freedom of the world. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, among working class people who built this country. I watched in horror as two of my heroes, like many of you did, Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy, were assassinated. And their legacies inspired me to pursue a career in service.
I was only 50 then.
I left the law firm and became a public defender because my city of Wilmington was the only city in America occupied by the National Guard after Dr. King was assassinated because of the riots. And I became a county councilman almost by accident. I got elected to the United States Senate when I had no intention of running at age 29.
Became president with a lot
Then
of
vice president of our first black president. Now president to the first women vice president.
That's how you know this is fake. Because none of them like her. That's how you know that the applause is fake. There you go. That's the fake applause sign right there. In case you wondered,
In my career,
they all hate her.
I've been told I was too young. By the way, they didn't let me on the Senate elevators for votes sometimes. Not a joke.
No joke.
And I've been told I'm too old. Whether young or old, I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star.
Yep.
The very idea of America is that we're all created equal, deserves to be treated equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to that idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I won't walk away from it now. I'm optimistic. I really am. I'm optimistic, Nancy.
And Trump is right. He made Iran rich, and that's why the Middle East is having problems. It's all his fault. It's literally all his
Americans,
fault.
the issue facing our nation isn't how old we
Terry
are.
BB News, you son of
It's
a...
how old are our ideas. Hate, anger, revenge, retribution are the oldest of ideas. But you can't lead America with ancient ideas. It'll only take us back. You lead America, the land of possibilities. You need a vision for the future and what can and should be done. Tonight you've heard mine. I see a future where defending democracy, you don't diminish it. I see a future where we restore the right to choose and protect our freedoms, not take them away. I see a future where the middle class finally has a fair shot, and the wealthy have to pay their fair share in taxes. I see a future where we save the planet from the climate crisis and our country from gun violence. Above all, I see a future for all Americans.
It is. That's what he's trying to say.
I see a country for all Americans. And I will always be president for all Americans because I believe in America. I believe in you, the American people. You're the reason we've never been more optimistic about our future than I am now.
Oh, please.
So let's build the future together. Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity when we act together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's not God bless America. God bless America. I've never seen the president not say God bless America. Isn't he the president of the United States of America? That's weird. That's a weird ending. I think he feels like he did what he wanted to do, but there was the tell there. The tell was that, like, when they're standing and applauding for Kamala like that, you know that they've been basically told you have to stand up and applaud, like, forever. Like if you, unless you want, they basically were told, unless you want Trump to win, you need to stand up and applaud because this is his campaign speech, and it's the only campaign speech he'll make with someone in attendance of more than 30 people. So you need to get up there and applaud, like, you know, your lives depend on it, because your political career may. So there you go. That's basically what happened. I want to acknowledge H Coffee hitting me up. Hearing they pay their fair share for the past 20 years, so at least since I was old enough to be politically aware, that sounds just like a scam to me. It sounds like a scam to me. There's never been anything concrete, and all of them I know love hearing. They love hearing it because it just sounds like, oh yeah, we're gonna get free money. We're gonna get free money from the rich billionaires. There's no what is their fair share? No matter if we were taking 99% from them, they'd still be screaming they have to pay their fair share. You can always say that. It's the stupidest thing in the world. And God bless you, Anna. I'm glad I can help entertain your dad. So there you go. I'm glad I can help him sit through it without retching up all over, because then you'd have to clean it up. It would be gross. So you're welcome. It was my pleasure. But thank you for the generous super chat. Next, I'm going to go over to, apparently they say, I've been told, that Tucker is going to be having Trump on in response. So let's see if we can get that. We're going to do this here. It's going to be on Tucker Carlson. Okay.
I guess I'll write analysis of it or whatever. We'll put it up tomorrow.
What
do you mean? Yeah, but I got to write it. No, come on. We can't go right on after this. This is too nuts.
Oh,
I
this
need
is
time
just
to
an
think about what
advertisement.
it means.
It's just an advertisement. Does he have like a live thing? I thought I was. Okay. Okay. There's no live for him? Really? Let's go to tuckercarlson.com. Try tuckercarlson.com. Oh, here we go. Come on, it should be live now. Hello.
He is, and it's on display every day. But Joe Biden is also a cruel and vicious demagogue, a man who has no problem at all denouncing his fellow Americans or putting his political opponents in prison, as he has done. And that was all on display.
He usually does well in
That
these
was
speeches.
Possibly the darkest, most un-American speech ever given by an American president. In fact, it wasn't a speech. It was a rant, entirely lacking in decency or generosity to his fellow Americans. In Joe Biden's very first sentence, he compared Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler. He did not describe Trump as the other party's candidate, which he is, a political opponent in a country that's had peaceful elections for 250 years. No. According to Joe Biden, Donald Trump is Adolf Hitler. He is an existential threat to freedom and democracy. If he wins, you will die, and so will your country.
Yep.
That was the first sentence. But that was really the last time he mentioned the United States at all, for paragraphs and paragraphs. Biden quickly explained that actually his top priority has nothing to do with America. His top priority is sending billions more to Ukraine, a foreign war in Eastern Europe, a war across the world that has nothing to do with the United States, that the United States is not obligated by any treaty to join. Of course, Ukraine is not a member of NATO.
Great point.
A war that can only hurt this country and already has hurt it in grave and permanent ways. The invasion of Ukraine is the most important thing to Joe Biden, not ending the invasion of our own country by drug cartels, which control huge swaths of the southern United States at this point, not our degrading economy you experience every day, not our collapsing schools where kids can't read at all, not the 100,000 fentanyl deaths every year, not the declining life expectancy that is obvious if you look around, collapsing public health, an epidemic of suicide and murder, things that hurt Americans, ghost armies of drug addicts living on the streets, right outside the chamber where the speech was given tonight. None of that matters. Biden's top priority is aid for Ukraine.
Mm-hmm. That's what
it
came
was
out with.
deranged. You watch this, you thought, this is insane. Does anyone in the room think it's insane?
No, they're applauding like seals.
Here's how the Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson of Louisiana, newly elected, the man who leads Republicans, in fact, the top elected Republican in the United States of America. Here's how he responded as Joe Biden told the country that the invasion of Ukraine is his top priority. Watch this.
Overseas, Putin of Russia is on the march, invading Ukraine and sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not.
It's a lie.
But Ukraine,
I don't know why he's nodding.
Ukraine can stop Putin. Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons that needs to defend itself. My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away. We will not bow down. I will not bow down.
This is crazy talk. There's no explanation of what the goal is here. There's lie after lie. Ukraine can stop Russia. No, it can't. This has gone on for over 2 years. NATO is stronger than ever. No, it's not. NATO is on its way to collapse, as is the economy of Western Europe. For not one sentence did Joe Biden explain what the goal of this exercise is, when we'll know we've won, and what the future should look like. Again, it was crazy talk. And yet, Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House, nodded gravely. Oh, of course, he is completely on board with Joe Biden on this Biden's signature issue. And that's not a guess. As of this afternoon, Mike Johnson is secretly supporting Biden's agenda, sending another $60 billion to the oligarchs in Ukraine. Johnson plans to let Democrats onto the floor of the House to vote for this. This is a stealthy procedural move designed to shield him and other Republicans from criticism. Oh, the Democrats did it.
From the drugs.
But that's exactly what it is. He's the Speaker of the House. He could stop it, but he won't because he's on board. So why is he on board? Is Mike Johnson representing his own voters as he backs Joe Biden's signature agenda item, a war against Russia? No, he's not. Republican voters in Louisiana are not for this. Republican voters nationally are not for this. They hate this. It has nothing to do with them. And it's insulting. As their country is invaded, we send billions to prevent the invasion of another country that we have nothing to do with. But the Uniparty demands this, so Mike Johnson is doing it. And so at some point you ask, well, why are they demanding this actually? Why is war with Russia the most important thing?
Which comes back to what?
If you look at the numbers or a map, it wouldn't be obvious that Russia would be America's main enemy. There are other candidates. Could it be because Russia is the largest white Christian country in the world? Maybe. Could it be because they're getting rich from war? Well, that's certainly true. And there may be other reasons as well. We could guess. But we don't need to, because we know that it's happening, and we know that war against Russia is not the only war we're going to be engaged in, and not the only one that Biden announced tonight. Biden also told the country that we're going to have boots on the ground in Gaza. Really? Or admitted it, in fact. American forces have actually been there for months. Did you know that? Did anyone ask you? Has anyone explained to you, no matter where your sympathies lie, what the point of this is, when we'll know we've won? What's the objective here? American lives will be at risk. But of course, no one's told you. And of course, you already know the point. The point is to suck the United States into another foreign war that can't possibly help the United States, a war that can only hurt us and already is hurting us. And we're doing this not because it helps us, but because foreign interests are demanding that we do it. America is being used, as we so often have been. And the result of all of this is that the world is now closer to nuclear war at this moment than at any time in history, closer than it was during the Cuban Missile Crisis. We have no idea where this is going. You never do once people start to die, once wars begin. No PowerPoint can tell you, no speech to a joint session can tell you where this is going. It's dynamic. It's completely unpredictable. And that's why wise people
he was jumping from one topic to another.
Accelerating.
He kept jumping.
But there are no wise people.
Economy to healthcare in
either party, on either side. Do you think Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State, has any clue what will happen in a war with Russia? Of course not. You can't say where this is going. This is so reckless that it qualifies as suicidal. And maybe they are. But the rest of us aren't. But the most interesting fact of the speech was the emphasis. There was not a meaningful word for the entire duration about the things that actually matter to people who live here, like crime or inflation or fentanyl or the foreign army now occupying our country. Joe Biden doesn't care. There was no upside for you in any of the things that he said. But he does have a present for you. He's got something to give you, something you want very badly. Here it is.
Look, it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following. And with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about it.
The Clarence Thomas didn't go? I haven't seen him the whole time.
Clearly, those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024.
Oh, well, you can't have a safe, clean country or groceries you can afford or schools that will educate your children, but you can't have abortion. You can have a lot more abortion. How's about some more abortion for you? That'll make you happy and free. You can have all the abortions you want. But of course, you already could have all the abortions you want. Abortion is one thing, maybe the one thing that's pretty easy to get in this country. Compare getting an abortion to getting an affordable new roof or a knee replacement. No, abortion is everywhere.
Yep.
It's very easy to get.
Very easy to get.
Easy to get because
he told a story about someone who was dying and couldn't get an abortion.
Roof. But what's interesting is why, of all the services government could guarantee, why abortion at a time when fertility rates of actual Americans are below replacement? Biden and his party are encouraging Americans to have fewer children. Now, if you have a handheld calculator, do the math on that. That's the path to extinction. Why would they want that? You're the leader of a country. Why would you want your people to have fewer children? You should ponder that. But let's say you're too old to have an abortion. Let's say it doesn't actually apply to you, this wonderful freedom that will make you happy. What can you do to guarantee that you will have no descendants? Well, you can always castrate your children and end your lineage. No more grandchildren. And Joe Biden wants to help.
I want to protect fundamental rights. Pass the Equality Act. And my message to transgender Americans is, I have your back.
Oh, trans children, I have your back. That's not creepy. But that's what he's offering. Abortion, war, castration of children, not better roads and schools, cheaper electricity and food. No, abortion and war. Who wants all that? I mean, some tiny percentage of CNN contributors think those are the most important things, but most people would rather have cheaper electricity, cheaper food, better roads. And so what this means is that underneath all of the talk is a dire political reality. Joe Biden can't win. In a fair election, Joe Biden will lose in November. He cannot win.
Maybe.
That's the thing that nobody
I don't think Robert's afraid.
Any media wants to say out loud. In a fair election, Joe Biden cannot win. So they're saying the opposite. Here, for example, is the pre-game analysis over at MSNBC, which we watched while waiting for Biden to dodder up to the stage.
How did you manage to
and keep in mind, as you watch this analysis, these are supposedly the smart kids. These are the smart kids, the ones with complicated glasses. These are the ones the White House looks to for guidance. And here's their analysis of Joe Biden's skills. Watch this.
This seems like a weirdly counterintuitive hot take, even though it's the most obvious thing you could say, which is that Joe Biden is good at politics.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Like Joe Biden is good at politics. He's very good at politics. Like the man really does know what he's doing, and you really see it in those sort of situations.
Which situation?
Joe Biden is just really good at politics. It's the one thing he's really good at. Really? If Joe Biden is so good at politics, why is he losing to Donald Trump, who the rest of us were assured was a retarded racist, who no normal person would vote for? But now Joe Biden is getting stomped by Donald Trump, but he's also at the same time good at politics? Right. Chris Hayes, ladies and gentlemen, the most famous lesbian in television. So, again, they can't win, but they're not giving up. So what does that tell you? Well, they're going to steal the election. And we know they're going to steal the election because they're now saying so out loud. Here is the Attorney General of the United States, the chief law enforcement officer of this country in Selma, Alabama, just the other day. Listen to this.
The right to vote is still under attack. And that is why the Justice Department is fighting back. That is why one of the first things I did when I came into office was to double the size of the voting section of the Civil Rights Division. That is why we are challenging efforts by states and jurisdictions to implement discriminatory, burdensome, and unnecessary restrictions on access to the ballot, including those related to mail-in voting, the use of drop boxes, and voter ID requirements. That is why we are working to block the adoption of discriminatory redistricting plans that dilute the vote of Black voters and other voters of color.
Did you catch that? Of course, you're a racist. That's always the takeaway. But consider the details of what the Attorney General of the United States just said.
Yeah, he was pretty
Mail-in
good.
balloting, drop boxes, voter ID requirements.
Yeah.
The chief law enforcement
We have
officer
15
of the
million
United States government
illegals here,
is telling you
and
that it's immoral, in fact,
no voter
racist,
ID.
in fact, illegal,
so anyone can walk in.
to ask people for their IDs when they vote to verify they are who they say they are. What is that? Well, no one ever talks about this, but the justification for it is that somehow people of color, black people,
I'll catch him
don't
afterwards.
have state-issued IDs. Somehow they're living in a country where you can do virtually nothing without proving your identity with a government-issued ID without government-issued IDs. So they can't fly on planes, they can't have checking accounts, they can't have any interaction with the government, state, local, or federal. They can't stay in hotels. They can't have credit cards because someone without a state-issued ID can't do any of those things. But what's so interesting is these same people, very much including the Attorney General and the administration he serves, is working to eliminate cash, to make this a cashless society. Have you been to a stadium event recently? No cash accepted. You have to have a credit card. And in order to get a credit card, you need a state-issued ID. And somehow that's not racist, but it is racist to ask people to prove their identity when they choose the next president of the United States. So that doesn't make any sense at all.
Check it out.
That's a lie. It's an easily provable lie. And anyone telling that lie is advocating for mass voter fraud, which the Attorney General is. There's no other way to read it. So you should know that. You live in a country where the Attorney General is abetting, in fact, calling for voter fraud. And that's the only chance they have to get their guy reelected. Well, for a cooler, more measured take, we suspect, on what we just saw, we are grateful to go to Victor Davis Hanson, who's a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution, and he joins us now. Professor, thank you very much for coming on. I want to start right at the outset, and I saved this sound for your analysis, because I think it'll be smarter than mine, of the signature moment of the night, which was Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia confronting Joe Biden as he spoke, and here's what happened next.
I'd be a winner, not really. Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand.
Yeah, right.
So what did you make of that? What does that mean, do you think?
Well, I've never seen in general an angrier speech. I mean, I think the left's happy because he didn't stumble, but he only is incoherent when he's full of venom and he's angry. Get off my... This was Phantom of the Opera #2. And I've never seen a president interact and yell at the opposition. And, you know, Tucker, he attacked the Supreme Court and he was having a dialogue, an invective against the Supreme Court justices in the chamber. And so he's a very angry guy, and you were absolutely right, he's a demagogue. And then it was lie under lie. I couldn't believe when he talked about the deficit and the debt. He's on schedule, if he were to be reelected, to run up $15 trillion. We're borrowing, I should say, or printing $1 trillion every 100 days under him. We've never seen anything like it, $7 trillion. And yet he says he's lowered the debt or deficit. Same thing about the border. I mean, I know that Mitch McConnell made a fatal blunder by even negotiating with these guys. And that was the whole purpose of the Democratic negotiation, was this speech where they could say, well, they didn't sign on, but there's no need for laws. There's no need for more money. All Joe Biden had to do was just keep the policies in place. He had 100 executive orders to overturn everything. He let in almost 10 million people by design. He wanted to change the demographic. He wanted voters under, mail-in and early voting protocols. And yet to stand there and just say that he's for the border closing was just a complete lie. I think it got people, I don't think it's going to go over. I think it was a mean old man saying, get off my grass, and I'm going to give you free stuff and print more money. and then tell you that it's the rich that
It's
are the
Christmas.
problem.
Yep. And
Now, I think the
pay their
nadir,
share.
though, Tucker, was not just the Marjorie Taylor Greene exchange, but when he said that he's getting tired of people not paying their income taxes when his son is now facing several felony counts for tax avoidance, and he's got a lot of
That's a
cash.
great point. I didn't think of.
And he, as soon as he's out of office, if there's any justice in the world, he'll face the same exposure as Hunter. So I know that the left will say, well, he didn't stumble, and he was vigorous, and he was muscular, but it was a muscularity and a vigor that was frightening, because it was exactly like he did in that other speech about the semi-fascist and ultra-MAGA.
Yes.
And the idea that that buffoonish display in the rotunda for a few minutes was a insurrection and is the greatest threat to America since the Civil War. I think he forgot December 7th and World War II and World War I, but my God, he lives in an alternate universe. And
well, may I ask you a question about human nature? He didn't write this speech. His staff wrote it.
This was designed to give the left,
and they told easily provable lies, not just a few, as politicians invariably do, but big ones.
I think
the Republicans are responsible for the spending and the border.
It was very short,
et cetera, et cetera. Why do they do that? Does that work? If you repeat a lie often enough, does it become real? Like, what's the thinking there, do you think?
I think they think that lying on the border and lying on the budget and lying about abortion and lying about all these things will be resonated because they have confidence in the media. They feel they control social media, traditional media, new media, entertainment, and this will just reverberate. And
New York
is what you see every night on network news or MSNBC. But I don't think it's going to work because people have heard it before, and they look at the reality that the staples that make life possible, fuel and food and shelter, have gone up 30%, and he doesn't care. And when they look at the border, it's
the reality is in November, nobody remembers the State of the Union address,
and he doesn't care.
Nobody remembered
abroad.
Trump's.
He kept talking about Ukraine. You want to think, okay, there's been 4 administrations. When did Putin go in? He didn't go in during Donald Trump, but he went in during Bush, and he went in Obama, and he went in yours. And you talk really tough on Ukraine, but you were the one that fled in disgrace from Afghanistan. You told the country you wouldn't react if it was a minor invasion of Ukraine. You talk about giving them aid. He froze $100 million. And there was no Middle East war when Donald Trump was there. So the world fell apart when he came on the scene. He knows that. I think they're going to be desperate. I think you're absolutely right about what the contours of the next election are going to be. It's going to be Donald Trump is January 6th, beat that dead horse. It's going to be abortion. It's going to be Donald Trump lawfare. And then it's going to be confidence in 70% of the electorate not voting in person on election day. And that's all they have. Every single issue, people are sick of.
That's his way of saying election fraud.
But I do have some confidence. I'm a little bit more optimistic when you look at that face and you see that reptilian grin and an anger, and he screams for emphasis. He doesn't change his intonation or use his hands or try to smile. It's just very angry and full of venom, as if all of the veneer of self-control of an earlier Joe Biden is gone now. And it's the real Joe Biden coming out. We've seen it before, and it's kind of frightening. I've never seen an angrier speech, State of the Union, than that. Never.
I don't think there's ever been one. If last question, if
someone made a comment, it was like Dwight Schrute.
We're going to guess what happens as this unfolds, because there's no better big picture assessor than you. Is Biden going to make it to November? Is there any chance he wins?
I think
what would you guess if you had
his effort to show his party that he can do it?
What happens?
I think
that's what this was.
Yeah, I think tonight is what we saw with the first debate with Donald Trump. I think he was late tonight. I think they just have a 2-day week. They rest him, and then for these iconic occasions, he looks angry, and they consider that normal. But campaigning, he's not going to be able to campaign. I think that what we saw after the Robert Hur report, that crazy press conference, is going to be often, and I think they're going to intercede in the August convention and make the super delegates decisive or open all the delegates up and see if they can get him off the ticket. Maybe tonight they don't think that, but they'll have a different view next week, the week after, and the week after. Especially, I don't think this is going to help his polls at all. I think people are tired of the anger.
I think it may help him short-term polls because he had some funny quips. So I think it might help him his short.
But I'm very worried that
I hope it helps him survive the election.
Campaign in 50
I'd
states.
love to be wrong,
And whether we like it or not, he's going to have to unite the party, and I think he can. But they don't have any margin of error. He's going to have to be the first Republican president to get 51% of the vote since 1988, and they've lost 7 out of the last 8 popular presidential popular votes. So, and they don't have a good record, the Orthodox Republican establishment. So Trump's going to have to reach to every community. He's going to have to campaign, and it's going to have to bring people together. And he has no margin of error because they control the balloting in these swing states. And so it's going to be the most raucous, nastiest, loudest election in our lifetime, and I'm really worried about it. But I have confidence in the American people, and I think what they saw tonight was an old man raging and ranting and barking at the moon.
There's been I would say, an unprecedented crackdown on civil liberties during the Biden administration. If Trump loses, does that abate or does it accelerate? Do more people go to jail if Biden wins or loses?
Well, if Biden wins, I think we're in trouble because we've seen what Merrick Garland did when they were afraid of being, whether they would be reelected or not. If he's reelected and he has 4 years, there's no bridles. And if he should win, he'd probably win the House. If Donald Trump wins, the thing about Donald Trump is everybody says he's out for revenge and everything, but you look at the FBI, the CIA, the DOJ, the IRS under his control, they weren't vindictive. They didn't go after their political enemies. No. He may talk tough, but he's not a vindictive person. And I think he has moments after the Iowa primary and when he talks about getting even by being successful, that he's got it in him to unite the country. Biden doesn't. And I think Trump could. And I hope that he campaigns in the inner city. I hope he campaigns in places like where I live in the Central Valley. There's people that want a reason to vote for him. They're sick of Biden. And they feel that he did a good job, and all he has to do is appeal to.
I actually think he's going to get a lot more of the black vote than people realize.
I hope so too.
I think Trump will get a lot more of the black vote.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
All right.
So we are honored to invite into the studio for the first time to respond live, Alex Jones, who has a different, more holistic view of what we're seeing. The great Alex Jones, who needs no introduction, one of the most famous people in American media.
I can do as good as you, but I'm blessed to be here. Great crew, great people, great to be here with you.
So just give me your big picture assessment of that.
I got to say, because we didn't even meet before we went on air. I was downstairs writing notes, and you basically said everything I was going to say, and so did the doctor. But you asked him a question out of the gates. You said, why do they lie so much? They think we're dumb or what's going on?
Yeah.
They want to tell so many lies that you don't have time to counter them all. Because it would take 5 hours to counter all that. I mean,
I gave up in my note taking.
Yeah, everything was a lie.
And that's what they're banking on.
I mean, the biggest one was like, yeah, this woman got killed by illegal alien. We're trying to stop that. I want to shut down the border. He said, when I win, immediately surge the border. And then they had the big NGOs, the State Department that funds the UN NGOs, have all the illegals come up here. They have UN camps in South America and Central America and in Mexico. And he's running it all. He says, come here. They show up by the thousands in Biden shirts. So he's like, I'm so sad the illegal aliens are killing you. And many of them are convicted felons, a large portion. And then he's acting dumb and saying, oh, no, I'm really sad. Illegal aliens are raping and murdering citizens. So just that little window there, he's playing the good cop to his own globalist policies. Everything that the State Department, the Victoria Nuland's want. And you're absolutely right. First, he comes out and says, Trump is Hitler. And then he moves on to Ukraine. So it's not about the dying cities, it's not about the fentanyl and the needles, the illegal aliens everywhere and the homeless everywhere. It's all about Ukraine because that's their big model to distract us and also launder money. So this is a very, very dangerous moment for America. And your last guest was dead on. He and the whole establishment is so emblematic of a rotting, collapsing facade that knows the people have turned against it.
We need to keep
lying.
lying.
Pure rage. All the fakeness, all of the pomp and circumstance has been stripped away, and now there's just this seething ancient dinosaur. In fact, I was watching, earlier during the State of the Union, and then sitting here watching you earlier, I was thinking, how do I start this? I want to say it's like we're in a time machine, looking back on the age of the dinosaurs, the Paleolithic or something, or
getting colder.
I mean, we're looking back.
The dinosaur farts brought the ice
time
age.
Is compressed now.
That's
so
my
we're
new
here
theory.
Looking at a dying, corrupt, dead political empire
global cooling
that
because
hates
the dinosaur
America and
farts.
is trying to use our power to take over the world, and it's already gone. The world's turning against it. The Great Awakening's here. All the numbers show it, and they're trying to hang on. And so we're looking back at Jurassic Park. We're looking back at the dinosaurs. But instead, the dinosaurs are trying to claw us back into hell. I mean, take World War II. Operation Valkyrie was the German general staff, who were Nazis and bad guys, but they were like, we're going to lose the Russians. We're going to lose the Americans. We're going to lose the Allies. A year and a half before the war ended, let's kill Hitler. But they failed. It's the same thing. The globalist program has failed. But they're thinking, well, if we just enslave people and arrest people and do all this, they'll shut up and go away. The New World Order has already failed. The question is, when Hitler knew who was going to lose, he wrote and said, if the Germans failed on the Eastern Front with the Russians, all the Germans deserve to die. They failed and they're weak. And so he flooded the German subways. He let the whole Russian army come in. 25 million Germans died. 26 million Russians died. Most of World War II was the Russians, the Nazis killing each other. And so it's kind of that same thing. The left saying, if we're going down, we're taking you all with us. And then we have Klaus Schwab saying, you will eat bugs. We have Tyson Foods saying, we're moving in with crickets as the main batter for your chicken and everything else. I mean, they're really, Yuval Noah Harari was on late night comedy just last night. And he's like, yeah, the age of humans is over. And then the talk show host agreed, yeah, we need computers to decide everything. Program by the globalists. So all they're offering is more of the same. And if we just fully reject them, which is happening, they will fall away. But they're trying to claw us down to hell with them.
It does almost seem like, flirting with nuclear war, which they are doing on multiple fronts with no plan whatsoever at all. We're going to finish the job. They never explained what the job was. That's suicidal. I mean, it's not right. It's not going to help them.
It's psychotic.
It is psychotic. So it does feel like the leaders of the society are trying to destroy the society.
And again, I go back to Hitler, who in his own writings, this is not, in my opinion, he's like, the Germans deserve to die, so we're just going to stand here at Berlin. And they're like, sir, the Russians have entered the subways, flooded. And they go, sir, we've got 1 million Germans, families, children in the subways. He said, they deserve to die. So the left is not giving up because they're disconnected from reality. Unlike German soldiers who were fighting for an evil force, but they were at least fighting. The left live in high-rise apartments. They're disconnected from reality. And to them, it's all like a video game. And they don't realize, as you were just saying, Macron 3 weeks ago, yeah, we're going to have a national draft. We may have to send troops in to fight the Russians directly. The British Ministry of Defense, the Swedish Ministry of Defense, NATO officially. Yeah. And you've got Sean Penn saying, we shouldn't have nuclear war off the table. It's survivable. What does he know about nuclear war? And so you can see it. It is
Sean Penn said nuclear war is survivable.
If you look it up, he's like, the quote's basically, a lot of people say we shouldn't use nuclear weapons in Ukraine or against the Russians. Well, we shouldn't take that off the table. And so that's the mindset of these people. To them, it's like a video game.
Yeah,
and they know they're losing their power. They have this relish of control. Hollywood's collapsed. Mainstream media's collapsed. I mean, CNN's top show, 100,000 viewers. I was down there in your studio entrance watching this during before we went live. And I was writing notes and I was like, I haven't watched this in years. And again, I was like studying. I was like an anthropologist, like studying some ancient tribe that died. And watching them all, well, he's old, but he's really smart and he's great. And they would all like these talking points regurgitating him. And I was like, but I get it. Because unlike an ancient tribe that died 10,000 years ago, they're still in control of nuclear weapons. So we need to study them.
So nicely put. If the hallmark of evil is deception, I think we can say that we're looking at evil. I mean, if the basis of your entire program is a lie, it's not just spinning it a little bit, it's a lie, it's the inversion of the truth,
and they know it's a lie,
then I mean, isn't that evil? What's the other definition?
Well, that's really it. We have to realize evil is lying, like in your own life. As I get older, I lied when I was a kid. I lied some when I was an adult. As I get older, lies have consequences. My whole life is now about not ever telling them.
Yes.
Like catching myself, being honest. My wife's like, "You look at that girl?" "Yeah, I am. Sorry." Instead of like, "Oh, no, I'm not." Because your mind gets trained to be accurate when you stop lying.
Yes.
Instead, when you lie, it's a disease. And then it takes you over. And these people are literally cancer. And they can find all this fodder and all these mercenaries that'll read their talking points. But as negative as it is, Tucker, you know this, 3-4% have taken the new booster shots. And when they rolled the first shot, it was like 70%. People are rejecting it. But there's the converse of that. The dying establishment, like when a woman tries to leave a man that's beating her, they're going to try to break our jaw in the parking lot. We're trying to get in the car. They're trying to keep us from escaping. And so we're at that point. We're trying to get in the station wagon with the kids. We're trying to pile them in. And, the drunk mean, is right there punching us in the face. But at the end, we're getting out of Dodge. We're leaving Egypt. We're going on to the promised land here. And it's going to take, that archetype of the promised land. It's going to take 40 years or whatever out in the wilderness, but at least we're not going to be slaves anymore. So we're in that process of emancipation right now. They're pissed. They're freaking out because they want control. Any fulfilled person is out fishing or hunting or hanging with family like you and I are. There's a beautiful sunset. We're having a great dinner, playing with our dogs, our cats, our kids. These people are not fulfilled. They don't have that. You study globalists, they're the most empty. You look at Soros or Alexander Soros. I mean, so they're projecting their hatred, just like a Hitler or a Stalin or a Lenin, on us. We've got to realize mentally ill. There's
no. Oh. I don't know why he has an astonished look. This is something he should realize by now. What's with the astonished look? It's true. Patrick Kennedy sent in locals. Thanks for the coverage. You're very welcome. Thank you for the $5 tip. You're very kind.
Even if people don't agree with whatever, it's so much more interesting and smart than anything ever uttered on CNN or MSNBC. And I worked at those channels, so I know for a fact. So I just think.
Well, they just want to be called out. You know that. You know better than I do. We're just real people. There's no teleprompters.
Yeah.
Other than like I have a few notes. You have a few notes of stuff you wrote yourself.
Annie, those are my notes.
No, but it's different when you. It's different when you write the teleprompter. Just like I have in my office, I have a teleprompter sometimes too. When I have time, I'll write what I want to say, my talking points. But it's your words. It's my words. Yeah. But it's CNN and Fox News and other places, they're loading it for you. The difference is we write our own notes here.
So what's the experience, not to get sidetracked, but it was so interesting what you said about your commitment to just telling the truth in your personal life and your professional life. What's the effect on you once you decide I'm going to really try not to lie at all ever?
Your brain is all our brains are a powerful electrochemical computer. And so it's like AI, when they corrupt AI and give it some woke agenda, it doesn't work right. It messes up. You see the Gemini thing with Google, and then it messes the whole thing up. They wanted a little bit of erase the white people, not totally erase them. So it backfired. Now Google's down 70 billion in market cap, huge scandal because it's so ridiculous. So from my own research and studying mainline literature and scientific research on it, but I've already experienced it. So I did the research. I went out and found that what I'd already experienced was real. When you tell your brain to lie or to not be honest, you're really lying to yourself. And then you start using all this brain capacity to figure out the lie and to then try to project things to cover up the lie. When you get into I'm at a neurotic level telling the truth. People, I go on the air and talk bad about myself and bad things I did. People say, why is he doing that? Because the more I do it, the more my brain cleans out. And now it's just laser focused. And now I know things much clearer. And so it's like removing computer viruses. And so when you get to the point of just not lying, I mean, I used to tell lies every day. Leftists tell lies continually. The thing is, you go to the other extreme, all you do is tell lies. So when you start moving away from lies, you get to the point where, well, I told one lie this week and that was terrible, because it's robbing from you, not just people you're lying to. So I've gotten to the point of almost zero lying. And it's super empowering. And again, it's cleaning out your computer to where your brain can then operate, not worrying about telling lies. It can just say what's accurate.
That's amazing. I strongly sense that what you just said is the key to everything, to tell the truth, period, no matter what.
It is. And that means sometimes it's painful because I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But
he said it's so
day,
true.
We just gotta
and
say
you feel less tension, much less tension. I know I was muted.
So back to the
Much less
behavior,
tension
the
because you
impulses,
have
the motives
harmony.
of the people running things.
People, you feel uncomfortable when you
They're
lie.
incompetent. That's demonstrable. But they're also kind of monomaniacal. Like they're very focused on certain hatred.
Unless your soul has already been turned to
judging by
Satan.
what they say, their main hatred is for white people who are the majority of the country. They talk about it constantly. They've set up a whole regime to punish white people on the basis of their skin color. You're not allowed to mention it. You're the racist. Okay, got it. But I don't think I've ever seen it on clearer display than in a now sort of famous MSNBC segment from last week. I hate
Glad you enjoyed the drinking
play
grade.
their garbage, but this is just so amazing. I have to.
And thank you for the chat.
Why are white rural voters a threat to democracy at this point? You would think, as we pointed out, looking at Joe Biden's background and Donald Trump's, that the opposite would be true.
I mean, we lay out the fourfold interconnected threat that white rural voters pose to the country. First of all, and we show 30
White
polls
rural
and national studies to demonstrate this. So we provide the receipts in Chapter 6. They're the most racist, xenophobic, anti-immigrant, and anti-gay geodemographic group in the country. Second, they're the most conspiracist group. QAnon support and subscribers, election denialism, COVID denialism, and scientific skepticism, Obama birtherism. Third, anti-democratic sentiments. They don't believe in an independent press, free speech. They're most likely
believe in
the
independent
president should be able to act unilaterally without any checks from Congress or the courts or the bureaucracy. They're also the most strongly white nationalist and white Christian nationalists. And fourth, they are most likely to excuse or justify violence.
So there's so many things that are interesting about what those two pigs are saying on television. And the most interesting to me is that white rural voters are, of course, the weakest people in America.
Well, when rural people, period, are the
rural people,
strongest.
period. That's exactly right, regardless of race.
So
but none of the supposed crimes that he mentioned, whether they're true or not, are crimes of action. They're all thought crimes. And so they're the most dangerous people in the country, not because they're killing others or embezzling money or getting rich through the carried interest loophole or starting wars, pushing people in front of subway trains. They're the most dangerous because they have thoughts that those two pigs don't like.
1.7
it's
now.
So interesting.
Well, this is the whole key. And of course, what you played, as I know you're a news channel like I am, is just emblematic of all of it. That is the Carnegie Foundation. That's the CIA. That's the liberation theology of universities. They know the world's 93%
harmony
white.
in yourself.
So they think, well, we'll control these people who are exploiting by making all their ills about rural white people in America. But if you go to rural areas, I don't care if you're black, Hispanic, white, people are all basically populist. They're conservative. They know what's going on. They live on the land. They're not stupid.
And they haven't done anything to anybody. That's the remarkable
thing. The lowest crime rate.
Well, yeah, like what's their crime? Well, their attitudes are bad. Like they will kill people for having the wrong attitudes. I mean, that's what they're saying.
And that's what it comes down to. If you remember in June of 2001, when Biden had just stolen the election, in my view, and gotten into power, he put out that national anti-terrorism perspective, national directive. And he said, white supremacism is the number one threat. Then he defined white supremacism as questioning lockdowns or open borders or forced shots. And so it's real simple. That MSNBC talking point from 10 years ago that all Republicans are racist, they're trying to codify it into law and then define racist as anyone that doesn't want to give up their cows or their farm or be a slave. So what they're threatened by is self-sufficient people, because it's a military takeover by the left and by the WHO. And we talked about this when I was on 3 or 4 months ago on your show out of Maine. They are literally understanding we've got the cities, we're about to take the dollar, we're collapsing the border. Who is the opposition? They're already lasing the target that it's the rural people. Remember I said next it's get the rurals, they're the enemy. And now that talking point is everywhere. I probably saw that clip 30 times the last week, 50 times the last month. And that's their next target, just like when Lenin and Trotsky and Stalin took over just Moscow and a few cities.
It's the
heartland
5
years
of
to take over
ultra-MAGA.
Russia. Who was the target? The farmers.
The kulaks.
Because they produce the food. And if you get them, now you've got everybody. So they're doing as you did a few weeks ago with that incredible lady, a Maoist/Stalinist Lenin playbook because it works. And so this is happening. This isn't a question. This is going down.
So what's the I wish I didn't agree with that, but the evidence suggests you're absolutely right. What is the purpose? No one has ever explained the purpose of admitting 10 million foreigners illegally into the country. So we used to hear Chamber of Commerce, the farm lobby would say, we need the labor. No one's saying that now because we don't need the labor. And you hear people say, well, we're doing it because, there's some reason we're doing it. I haven't heard one person, including Joe Biden tonight, explain why have they done this? What is the purpose?
Well, I love how you played Merrick Garland earlier. And he's like, there's all these races. They're trying to keep people from voting. How many blue cities let illegals vote? In San Francisco, they put a foreigner, not even a citizen, on the board of elections in San Francisco.
Yeah, Chinese national.
Absolutely. So yeah, like a Chi-Com. So they're just normalizing this. And of course, you had Colonel McGregor on a few days ago, and he said literally they're bringing in the foreign army, but it won't happen overnight with UN blue helmets. It's just they're now your police. They've already purged the military. They bring them in. They'll follow orders. This is very simple. So Rome took 400 years of bringing in foreign troops to fall. They didn't do it on purpose. But the globalists look at 1984 as fiction, or they look at Rome and they go, which was historical, and they go, that is a blueprint. That is an owner's manual. That is a battle plan. So that's what the Great Reset is accelerating the collapse of Western civilization, because you don't want it around to compete with the globalist model of eat the bugs and enslavement and collapse. So they're actively seeing prosperity and Christian nationalist freedom. God forbid the rest of the world pick up Western culture. So you brand it as racist. You say it's bad because it's like kryptonite, to Superman or holy water and high noon to a vampire.
You hold America to much higher standards than anyone else.
I want my due process. I want my
stolen
capitalism.
Lands.
Well, then it's over for the BlackRocks and the Googles.
Slavery.
And the so that's why they're fundamentally branding freedom as a white evil thing.
Self-hatred.
Because let's face it, Western civilization did develop from Greece on this incredible thing that could uplift humanity. So you discredit it by making it racial instead of selling it to the world and having everyone adopt it and creating unification, not through centralization or enslavement, but through adoption, because it works so well. And so the globalist tyrants are fundamentally threatened by Western Christian civilization. And that's why they're at war with it, which is why we should embrace it. And that's the great numbers of double the blacks voting for Trump, or triple the Hispanics, what we just saw 10 years ago. And that's why they're in full panic mode, trying to bring in totally uninformed foreigners from all over who they control and who they can run through NGOs, hoping that they'll be the savior. So as negative as all this is, I see this as the panic button being hit.
It is.
So what's the right response for normal people in a moment like this?
I think they have to promote your show, which is the #1 show in the world. I mean, not just in news, but just in commentary. I mean, it is. You're up there, and Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson. I'm down below that. But I'm really pleased to see you reaching hundreds of millions of people every day. And really, that's not about Tucker Carlson, though it is about you, but that's secondary. It's about people resonating with that. Shows they have the instinct and the spirit for victory. And people love you, black, white, old, young. It doesn't matter. And promoting other shows. And then also not being intimidated by leftist bullying and standing up at school boards and county commissions and running for office and really being peaceful, but extremely aggressive about defending our rights and realizing we predicted, Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, and so many others, everything that's now come to pass. We're actually on the mark. We actually want a civilization. We want prosperity. I liken it to, I'm selling for free. I'm giving away ice cold water with lemon in it in the Sahara Desert.
I feel like this is a different Alex Jones than the one we knew
sand
5 years ago.
I mean, this is insane.
They're
selling things that go against, you'll have nothing, you'll eat bugs, you'll drink sewage water, your families are horrible. You said earlier, we offer abortion and cutting your son's penis off. It's like, it's Hellraiser. And when you just sit back and go, wait, this can't be real. Klaus Schwab is promoting stuff that sounds like Hellraiser. Well, so was Hitler, so was Stalin. And we realize that this is an evil manifestation that crops up in our species of bad people who want power. The problem is good people don't seek power because we want to be left alone, hang out with our families, go fish, go hunt, go to dinner, go play golf. I'm the same way. But I'm sorry, folks. Good people can't sit there and say, I'm too good for this, because we will be destroyed if we don't. And that's what evil fears. So the good men and women are now standing up, and we're super popular. Every popular talk shows, there's no one, even Bill Maher poses as a conservative now, and I hope he comes all the way over a populist. There's no one that's popular promoting the New World Order. So I'm saying, look at the positiveness of how humans desire and like a man in the desert wants water, freedom.
Yes.
And all we're doing is promoting the natural programming that works. And so it's easy. We're the winners. We're the victors. We're not the cancer. We're following the program God gave us.
Yep.
That is like oxygen. And we have to just declare the enemy cancer and just say we're done. Shun them.
That's why I said
don't engage in violence.
Climate change,
and just give them no support and then maximum back the truth, and we will win.
And the same thing with the whole trans things.
As I listen to you talk, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why is Alex Jones getting canceled? Well, you haven't been canceled, thank God. But
well, they tried. I mean, they tried. But
He
thanks
sounds
to you,
far
you
wiser than he has in a long time.
I mean,
listen, I'm not kissing your ass or anybody's ass, but Trump helped break the back of political correctness, but you helped break the back, the critical person in the censorship, and you were there boosting me on Fox when nobody else was, and you took us over the top. Because you recognize that they can get Alex Jones, they can get anybody. And so it's the truth, Tucker.
Well, I mean, for sure. I mean, I've defended a million people just on principle, but as I listened to you talk, I was like, well, where's the crazy stuff? This is really smart, actually. And I think I've always thought that. I mean, agree or disagree, it's not shallow at all. So I'm grateful for that. So you think that as things get more intense, which they will, the people in charge desire violence. They're trying to provoke a violent revolution.
Absolutely. They can't win in a peaceful fight.
Sorry, no spamming. Bye.
But you have said, contrary to what they say about you, you've said, no, remain peaceful, period.
Absolutely. I mean, what they do is anytime you're watching corporate establishment enemy media, you'll see a 3-second clip. That's not, folks, you're being deceived when you see that. So I'll say, like, this is satire. It's the modest proposal by the famous Irish essayist and satirist Swift that if the world collapses, I'll eat my neighbors. This is a joke. But I go, collapse of the world leads to that. They go, look, he just said I'll eat my neighbors. They're deceiving. It's like that refrigerator game where you have all the little words and you can move the words around and say whatever you want.
Yes.
They basically take our words, move them around, and that's a deception. But when you look at what they're saying, conservatives and populists and Christians
not anymore
are going to kill people and they're going to murder people. And Trump is going to be a dictator and he's planning to, enslave everybody. But meanwhile, they're the ones taking him off the ballot. They're the ones indicting him. They're the ones saying, I mean, the Atlantic Monthly, that's the mouthpiece of Sauron, the mouth of Satan, came out 2 weeks ago and said, the headline was something like, even if Trump wins, we're just going to block him. Well, all Trump did was say, I want a 10-day investigation, which is constitutional. They said, they were honest. They said, even if he wins, we'll just decertify him. So they've basically indicted him in Georgia for saying, let's investigate. They're openly saying, we're going to disqualify him, and then it's okay. So again, there's a murder of logic. And people see that, and they're saying, oh, Trump is going to engage in terror, and there's white supremacists everywhere. So I think you can do 2 + 2 = 4. We know false flags are real. Provocateurs are real. We know they tried to stage the kidnapping of Governor Whitmer and multiple trials. People got released. They finally got the third trial, sent a few to prison, where you've got a bunch of marijuana. You've covered it detailed. A bunch of potheads, friendly little guys. They're homeless. And then they tell them, we'll give you $10,000 a month if you just meet with us and just say you'll kidnap Whitmer. So you're going to see a lot more of that. And we need to disavow that, because that doesn't fix it. We're winning the culture war. So they want to induce us into violence. And they've said they're introducing legislation, the Democratic Party in the House and Senate, to strip Trump of the Insurrection Act, which George Herbert Walker Bush used during the LA riots. And they're saying, oh, we know when he gets elected, if he does, there's going to be huge uprisings, and he's a white supremacist. So we've got to drive him from office that way. So they're planning to torch the country when he's president-elect, before he's in, and try to intimidate everyone. So Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all of this Hezbollah, Hamas protests. And again, I'm not for the war. I don't like how far Israel's gone, but they're invoking that and hyping that up now as their third rail, or their fifth column is the Islamicist, to then burn the country down within weeks of him being president-elect, and thinking they can terrorize the American people and the establishment into removing Trump somehow during that period. They've already pre-announced that. So I'm telling you now, 8 months out, that's their plan.
You mentioned the Atlantic, which is owned by a tech oligarch, Steve Jobs' widow, and almost everything bad in the country is financed by the richest people in the country, I've noticed, the oligarchs. And so all the money is kind of arrayed against the population of the country. That worries me. Can you throw off the yoke if the yoke has, hundreds of billions of dollars?
I think we are, thanks to Elon Musk. I mean, you can say what you want about Elon Musk with all his past activities. He's trying to dominate every technological sector. But Christ said, judge a tree by its fruits.
Yes.
And the last 2 years, let's say it's a 360, like right here is New World Order, and right here is Total Patriot. Musk was already over here. He wasn't a bad guy, but he wasn't perfect. He's moved basically a 180.
Yeah.
So he's
I still don't
like
trust him.
like Alec. I mean, look, you're the biggest guy in media.
His positive.
No, it's true. Let's go. It's not about bragging. It's true.
And
You're
appreciate
the
what he's
biggest
done.
mainline, talk show host. Well,
I don't
mainline
trust that I
professional
can
show.
rely on him.
Okay, there's a lot of
either
people
now.
under you like me. Elon Musk is way bigger than both of us. He's reaching 100 million, 200 million people a day with stuff you would say, or I would say he's devastating them. You don't do that if you're with him. So Elon Musk is definitely for real, because you can't argue with the results.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's just the way the universe works.
This is being powered by X right now, I should just say.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, and he's not censoring us.
No.
In fact, he's boosting us, probably. So the point is, by boosting,
You're all
getting out of the
licking
way.
his balls.
So they've already lost the culture war. So you can just say Musk, maybe he's an opportunist. He sees the old systems going down. He's shifting over. That's if he's a bad guy. If he's a good guy, he really cares about us and is a humanitarian and a bleeding heart for freedom and has joined us. But you can't argue with what he's done. But back to the violence. They have nothing they can do now but violence. And so we are entering that wheelhouse. We are entering that zone where they're telling us we're violent. They're telling us we're evil. They're telling us we're white supremacists. We're not. And so it's obvious that is about to
What's your name? I'll try
basically
to
unfold. But I want to tell the establishment, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you'd stage a false flag or provocateur something. It worked. It doesn't work on thinking people now, and it works on less people every day. So I would just advise the globalists give up.
So you're pretty famous. Not
I feel like
famous
he's like
enough
embraced my
for
message.
seeing
I feel like Alex
events
Jones
in
became
some
me,
detail ahead of
but
time.
starting with a
Only
bigger
person I think
platform.
in
That's
the
what I
world
feel like when I'm listening
called
to him.
9/11
I'm like,
in detail.
said
You're
all
on tape
these
doing it.
things.
They're going to fly
He's so
planes to the
right.
World Trade Centers and blame it.
It's
on
so
us, as you
weird.
said. I played the tape. So, given your demonstrated ability to
I need the
pretty
full
clear
screen.
sight picture of the future, where do you think we are in 5 years?
We're either in heaven or hell. It's
Yep.
the crossroads right now. We're going across the point of no return, and we have maximum effort to expose the evil and be honest ourselves about the problems we have, and really try to empower people and reach out across political lines and
I don't
really
blame him for
turn things around.
Let me be clear.
We have unlimited
He
potential,
deserves the
but
platform. He's earned it. He's
I would have to
fought for it. He's
say,
earned it.
if you
Like,
look into
whatever.
the
I'm
future,
simply saying
it's not like
the
putting the
messaging
crystal
I'm
ball,
hearing
it's
him
just all
give
the
is not
political
messaging I heard
lines,
from
all
him
the
5
data.
years ago.
It's a very, I wouldn't say a probability, but near probability nuclear war. And I have 4 children. One of them 6 years old. I
disagree with him on this
because I know this is real.
I agree with you.
I don't think.
I don't say this for like fear porn. I mean, mainline analysts, the atomic
I mean, I don't think it's really
scientist group says we're 2 minutes to midnight. It's the closest ever been, or like I think like a minute to midnight.
That's what I was saying to you, Kat.
We have to turn this around because we are entering the system where we're entering the house of destruction, and we're so close. So the Chinese proverb of live in interesting times is both positive and negative. We're in very interesting times, the most interesting probably ever in human history. We have like godlike power, but we're actually decadent slobs, myself included. And so really it's all up to us right now. We are at that point of decision. And if we can get past the partisanship, but that doesn't mean then embrace the globalists and the corporate fascists. No, reject them.
I'm simply saying
populist Christians,
I'm
conservatives,
agreeing
Hindus,
with him.
Jews,
feeling
Christians,
like
Muslims. Reject
he's
BlackRock,
taking my speaking
reject
points.
Klaus Schwab.
This was not what he was saying 5 years ago.
Who says the future's not human and we're obsolete and robots will run our lives in a decade?
I'm not saying
no,
envy or anything
humans
like that. It's a
are
compliment.
the only
That's
species
what I'm
that
giving
truly
him. I'm giving you a
controls its
compliment.
environment. So he wants us just to decide we're animals and we're just
You're very
receiving
welcome,
information. No, we're going to decide a pro-human future. We're going to decide to buy things from farms and factories where humans built it. We're going to decide to control our environment and not accept this big carbon tax system that's meant to make us accept the anti-human environment. So we have to decide our future now, our destiny now, with our actions and with our money and with our will then push that and reject everything that Hollywood and the corporate media push. If you just, it's real simple. You can study it all day like I do and like Tucker does, and you can know all the nuances and fight it all day, which I want you to do because it's fascinating. Or you can just say, whatever Disney and whatever Viacom and whatever CNN tells me, I do the opposite. You'll do quite well doing that.
I should say, not to be dark, but human beings, among other unique qualities, are also the only species that commit suicide.
You're right. Well, exactly. We have that paradox because we control our environment. What animal would think to commit suicide?
Right.
I mean, lemmings run off a cliff on an accident. Buffalo do it, but they don't do it on purpose. Very well said. Exactly. So we have that heaven and hell. We have that potential of the little g God. We have what science fiction writers like Jules Verne's 140 years ago wrote about, like rockets that take off, go to the moon, and come back and land again. Elon Musk has done it. Whatever we can envision, it's not like Oprah's Secret where it instantly happens, but with the potential of technology and society, and like Elon says, a big enough population, you need billions to build infrastructures that can do anything. And then once you realize the planet's tiny and there's hundreds of billions of galaxies that are close, I mean, we can see, then you go, oh my God, we're like embryonic right now. We're like a tadpole. And we're not just like, can we turn into a frog? We turn into a butterfly. It turns into a spaceship. It turns into a god, basically. And so we're a tadpole right now. We can do anything. And they're trying to tell us, no, you're scum, you're ugly, you're racist, kill each other, because the globalists want to extract out of us that essence of infinity that God's given us, that God essence. We're not God, but we're little g, that the first book of the Bible tells us. They want to extract that and use that for their life extension, their empowerment, their greedy control, instead of all of us sharing this incredible magic metamorphosis we're about to have. And they're trying to block the birth pains.
We're going to do Katie Britt next.
But I can tell them, you're going to fail.
I mean, when they go after the interesting people, that's when you know you're in trouble. I always think that about what they did to you. Alex Jones, you've greatly improved and enlivened this. Thank you.
Tucker, thanks for having me.
I'm your wisdom. Are you kidding?
I'm at Infowars.com right now, and we're very close to being shut down. But just like Tucker, it's going to be okay. But it's like they say in Empire Strikes Back, Imperial troops entered the base at Infowars. So I'm about to get taken out, but it's okay. I love you.
The best. We are done for the evening on the Tucker Carlson Network. We're happy to be back live. Tonight's show was brought to you and us by the Heritage Foundation. You can check them out online.
Okay.
And we'll be back soon here on X and on tuckercarlson.com. Have a great night.
I can't even close this out. Escape.
Thank you for watching live on Tucker Carlson.
All right. There you see my thing. You see how I'm supposed to be covering Is Disney Fixable? Because I'm supposed to be doing a second half to this show, and I haven't even gotten yet to the report. I haven't even gotten to the report I'm supposed to be doing Is Disney Fixable? I wanted to be watching this thing. I think I'm going to end up doing Is Disney Fixable tomorrow. And not tomorrow night. If I do it tomorrow, it'll either be like, I don't know, before I go on Layback Legal or after. If you're here, if you hit like and subscribe, but you'll find out what time it is. If you're where I am at goodlogic.locals.com. That's goodlogic.locals.com. That's where I'm probably going to end up covering this second topic, because right now I'm about to be covering the second topic is Disney Fixable? It was a town hall meeting with two wealthy men who are very influential and trying to get onto the board of Disney, who have a very healthy perspective. Very healthy perspective. You're going to like them a lot. And they held a town hall meeting and answered questions very bluntly about where Disney has gone wrong and what Disney needs to do in ways that will make you happy. And it really inspired a lot of different philosophical thoughts that I had while I was watching it. I was sharing some of them this afternoon when I joined on with Valiant Renegade, but I had a lot more. And I didn't even get through the entire town hall because I came for the last 10 minutes and saw the first 5 minutes, but I missed most of the middle part. And I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to end up doing it on playback. It's either going to be on playback TV or it's going to be on locals. I'm still torn about that. I'm torn about which one of them, but it'll probably be on playback TV or on locals. It'll either be like 10:30 in the morning. All times are Eastern. So it'll either be like 10:30 in the morning or like 2 in the afternoon. It depends on how my schedule is working. So, but right now, what I want to do is I'm not done with y'all yet. Right now, what I want to do is I wanted to whatchamacallit, where was I? I have someone who I set to call me tomorrow at 2. I don't remember what that was. In my brain, I'm thinking someone's supposed to be calling me at 2 o'clock. Yeah. So what I want to do now is I want to watch the response from Katie Britt and give you my thoughts on that. So let's check that out. Katie Britt.
On Thursday night here in the U.S.
This isn't it. All right, it's 18 minutes long. Here we go. I think this is it. This looks like it's definitely it. Okay, here we go.
In the United States Senate. However, that's not the job that
This sounds very low. We gotta get this a little bit louder. I'm gonna see if I can boost it a little bit. Where are you at? Where are you at? I think I need to refresh in order to get it.
in the United States Senate. However, that's not the job that matters most. I am a proud wife and mom of 2 school-aged kids. My daughter Bennett and my son Ridgway are why I ran for the Senate.
Can you guys hear her?
I'm worried about their future and the future of children in every corner of our nation. And that's why I invited you into our home tonight. Like so many families across America, my husband Wesley and I just watched President Biden's State of the Union address from our living room. And what we saw was the performance of a permanent politician who has actually been in office for longer than I've been alive. One thing was quite clear, though. President Biden just doesn't get it. He's out of touch. Under his administration, families are worse off. Our communities are less
This is
safe,
max volume.
and our country is less secure. I just wish he understood what
I
real
have an
families are
extension.
facing around kitchen tables just like this one.
I'm gonna point out to you. This is me. This is because I know a lot. See, I got my default. Should try. Did I hit that? Do I have to hit that button? Is that gonna help? Is that gonna help? I'm desperately trying to get her louder. Desperately want to get her louder. Try refreshing just in case.
In the United States.
Oh, whoa!
However, that's not the job that matters most. I am a proud wife and mom of 2 school-aged kids. My daughter Bennett and my son Ridgway are why I ran for the Senate. I'm worried about their future and the future of children in every corner of our nation. And that's why I invited you into our home tonight. Like so many families across America, my husband Wesley and I just watched President Biden's State of the Union address from our living room. And what we saw was the performance of...
I want to just tell you all, okay? Just need to tell you something. Don't erase it yet. Don't erase it yet. Don't erase it yet. Don't erase it yet. Oh, man. Next time, here it is. I want you all to know that I'm about to express opinion here, but I believe that Jim Caviezel is a hoaxer. He's a con artist. He's a thief. And you're an idiot if you ever go to any video he ever broadcasts. You should stay away from him because it's almost for certain that Jim Caviezel is responsible for hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people in getting viruses just from visiting Jim Caviezel. That is my perspective about Jim Caviezel. I'm almost positive that if you go and are stupid enough to click any link that's shared with Jim Caviezel because they give you some clickbait about Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, or trans or whatever stupid it is, I can almost promise you that you will suffer, that your computer will suffer forever. That's what happens if you're stupid enough to ever click on anything that Jim Caviezel ever puts out to the public. So please, this is a public service announcement. I am warning you, stay away from Jim Caviezel. Stay away from him. I was corrected. It's not Caviezel. It's pronounced Caviezel, as in like Caviezel, like some guy with a Yiddish accent saying, "Oh, it's Caviezel." That's what he is. Okay, he's Caviezel, but they don't say the W, so it's like, "Oh, it's Caviezel." That's how they say it. So if you ever see the name Jim Caviezel, know to stay away from it forever. I try every time they come in here to block them and ban them, because he keeps sending one stupid message after another, all of them looking identical to each other, because it's Jim Caviezel. That's what it is. So stay away from him. Stay away from him at all costs. Now back to our message.
A permanent politician who has actually been in office for longer than I've been alive. One thing was quite clear, though. President Biden just doesn't get it. He's out of touch. Under his administration, families are worse off, our communities are less safe, and our country is less secure. I just wish he understood what real families are facing around kitchen tables just like this one. You know, this is where our family has tough conversations. It's where we make hard decisions. It's where we share the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I'm going to tell you, so far it sounds like your classic spam political speech. It's like I could so see Gretchen Whitmer like starting her speech with the exact same thing after Trump's State of the Union, right? I mean, come on. It's almost like it's your job to act like the concerned mom. It just sounds so scripted.
Of our days. It's where we laugh together. It's where we hold each other's hands and pray for God's guidance.
Come on.
And many nights, to be honest, it's where Wesley and I worry. I know we're not alone. And so tonight, the American family
sounds like a medical commercial.
Because the truth is, we're all worried about the future of our nation.
I hope so.
The country we know and love seems to be slipping away, and it feels like the next generation will have fewer opportunities and less freedoms than we did.
That's my point.
I worry my own children may not even get a shot at living their American dreams. My American dream allowed me, the daughter of two small business owners from rural Enterprise, Alabama, to be elected to the United States Senate at the age of 40. Growing up, sweeping the floor at my dad's hardware store and cleaning the bathroom at my mom's dance studio, I never could have imagined what my story would entail. To think about what the American dream can do across just one generation, in just one lifetime, it's truly breathtaking. But right now, the American dream has...
I'm not going to kid you. I feel like this is Amber Heard on the stand. That's how it basically feels to me. She sounds like Amber Heard to me so far.
Has turned into a nightmare for so many families. The true, unvarnished state of our union begins and ends with this. Our families are hurting. Our country can do better. And you don't have to look any further than the crisis at our southern border to see it. President Biden inherited the most secure border of all time. But minutes after taking office, he suspended all deportations, he halted construction of the border wall, and he announced a plan to give amnesty to millions. We know that President Biden didn't just create this border crisis, he invited it with 94 executive actions in his first 100 days. When I took office, I took a different approach. I traveled to the Del Rio sector of Texas. That's where I spoke to a woman who shared her story with me. She had been sex trafficked by the cartels starting at the age of 12. She told me not just that she was raped every day, but how many times a day she was raped. The cartels put her on a mattress in a shoebox of a room, and they sent men through that door over and over again for hours and hours on end. We wouldn't be okay with this happening in a third world country. This is the United States of America, and it is past time, in my opinion, that we start acting like it. President Biden's border policies are a disgrace. This crisis is despicable. And the truth is, it is almost entirely preventable. From fentanyl poisonings to horrific murders, there are empty chairs tonight at kitchen tables just like this one because of President Biden's senseless border policies. Just think about Laken Riley. In my neighboring state of Georgia, this beautiful 22-year-old nursing student went out on a jog one morning, but she never got the opportunity to return home. She was brutally murdered by one of the millions of illegal border crossers President Biden chose to release. And
I'm gonna point out, by the way, this is not just funny, but it's a very insightful comment, because I'm gonna tell you right now, this is a very insightful comment because I think you're correct that this was intentional, that they wanted to have the image of that this is a trad mom senator. That's what they wanted. There's a trad mom senator, and she's in the kitchen. She's a senator. It's like it's like that. That's why this is why she's there. She's good eye candy for the men, and she's a trad mom she's a trad mom in the kitchen as a senator, powerful senator woman, and trad mom. I'm telling you, this is you're making a joke, which was funny, but it happens to be probably why would you put her in the kitchen? Why do this? Why do it like this? They could have put her in a living room, dining room, whatever. They could put her anywhere. No, they wanted you to get the feel that she's a mom. That's what they're doing. It's a subtle way of just making you identify with her more. Because honestly, her acting is terrible. It's terrible. Terrible acting. I'm calling like I see it. I'm calling like I see it. You know, look, I want Trump to win as bad as any of you. But yeah, this is not good. The mention of Uvalde as a gun problem in this speech was horrible. His kids died because of police negligence, not guns. Sick and disgusting. Yeah, it's true. It's true. 100%. It was police incompetence and cowardice. Yeah, apparently she did. She did. And that's what I'm saying. This is why I don't like it, because I don't care who's trying to propagandize me. And this is how it comes across. Everything she's saying is true. The story, even when she told the story, I didn't believe she was really feeling it. I felt like I was reacting to it more than she was. Just because I was picturing it rather than like feeling her sorrow and pain for that victim. That's funny. That's pretty funny. No, that's another good point. Yeah, they definitely want you to see the cross hanging from her neck. That's also. It's like, make sure your blouse is open enough that everyone can see your cross hanging down. Like they open another button. So this is, yeah.
To our homeland. Y'all, as a mom, I can't quit thinking about this. I mean, this could have been my daughter. This could have been yours. And tonight, President Biden finally said her name. But he refused to take responsibility for his own actions. Mr. President, enough is enough. Innocent Americans are dying, and you only have yourself to blame.
He only said her name because
Fulfill your oath of office.
NTD called it out.
Reverse your policies, end this crisis, and stop the suffering. Sadly, we know that President Biden's failures don't stop there. His reckless spending dug our economy into a hole and sent the cost of living through the roof. We have the worst inflation in 40 years and the highest credit card debt in our nation's history. Let that sink in. Hardworking families are struggling to make ends meet today. And with soaring mortgage rates and sky-high childcare costs, they're also struggling to how to plan for tomorrow. The American people are scraping by while President Biden proudly proclaims that Bidenomics is working. Goodness, y'all, bless his heart. We know better. I'll never forget stopping at a gas station in Chilton County one evening. The gentleman working the counter told me that after retiring, he had to pick up a job in his 70s so that he didn't have to choose between going hungry or going without his medication. He said, I did everything right. I did everything I was told to do. I worked hard. I saved. I was responsible. He's not alone. I hear similar concerns from fellow parents, whether I am walking with my friends or whether I'm at my kids' games. But let's be honest, it's been a minute since Joe Biden pumped gas, ran a carpool, or even pushed a grocery cart. Meanwhile, the rest of us see our dollar and we know it doesn't go as far. We see it every day.
I'm just going to pause. And Horn was less for you, Debbie, no offense, than it was for the corporal who was killed in botched Afghanistan withdrawal, and a dozen other Marines. It's really, can never forget. Never forget.
And despite what he tells you, our communities are not safer. For years, the left has coddled criminals and defunded the police, all while letting repeat offenders walk free.
Yep.
The result is tragic, but foreseeable. From our small towns to America's most iconic city streets, life is getting more and more dangerous. And unfortunately, President Biden's weakness isn't just hurting families here at home. He is making us a punchline on the world stage. Look, where I'm from, your word is your bond. But for 3 years, the president has demonstrated that America's word doesn't
She definitely was better on Survivor.
Mean what it used to. From abandoning our allies in his disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan to desperately pushing another dangerous deal with Iran. President Biden has failed. We've become a nation in retreat, and the enemies of freedom, they see an opportunity. Putin's brutal aggression in Europe has put our allies on the brink. Iran's
Alabama
terrorist
Senator
proxies have
Katie Brett.
slaughtered Israeli, Jews, and American citizens.
I pray not.
They've targeted commercial shipping, and they've attacked our troops nearly 200 times since October, killing 3 U.S. soldiers and 2 Navy SEALs.
The swallowing
Meanwhile,
also is very everything about this is so cringe.
the Chinese Communist Party is undercutting America's workers. China is buying up our farmland.
No, I was making a joke. And she's like as good an actor as like one of these reality TV star people. That's why it was a joke. She wasn't on Survivor. Okay. If she was on Survivor, I wouldn't have known. But yeah, it was a joke. That's all. She got Survivor.
Spying on our military installations and spreading propaganda through the likes of TikTok. You see, the CCP knows that if it conquers the minds of our next generation, it conquers America. And what does President Biden do? Well, he bans TikTok for government employees, but creates an account for his own campaign. Y'all, you can't make this stuff up. Look, we all recall when presidents faced national security threats with strength and resolve. That seems like ancient history. Right now, our commander-in-chief is not in command. The free world deserves better than a dithering and diminished leader. America deserves leaders who recognize that secure borders, stable prices,
is there really a show called
safe
that?
streets, and a strong defense are actually the cornerstones of a great nation.
In the fridge.
Just ask yourself, are you better off now than you were 3 years ago? There's no doubt we're at a crossroads, and it doesn't have to be this way. We all feel it. But here's the good news. We, the people, are still in the driver's seat. We get to decide whether our future will grow brighter or whether we'll settle for an America in decline. Well, I know which choice our children deserve, and I know the choice the Republican Party is fighting for. We are the party of hard-working parents and families, and we want to give you and your children the opportunities to thrive. And we want families to grow. It's why we strongly support continued nationwide access to in vitro fertilization. We want to help loving moms and dads bring precious life into this world. Wesley and I believe there is no greater blessing in life than our children. And that's why tonight, I want to make a direct appeal to the parents out there, and in particular to my fellow moms, many of whom I know will be up tossing and turning at 2 a.m., wondering how you're going to be in 3 places at once and then somehow still get dinner on the table. First of all, we see you, we hear you, and we stand with you. I know you're frustrated. I know you're probably disgusted by most of what you see going on in Washington, and I'll be really honest with you.
She's gotten a little better with her acting in the last few minutes. I just feel like she's pandering, but yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not. I just feel it feels very plastic to me. Everything's been feeling. I've been quiet because I've been like, it just feels like the same words for the last 15 minutes, and I think I'm only 12 minutes in.
You're not wrong for feeling that way. Look, I get it. The task in front of us isn't an easy one, but I can promise you one thing.
That's true.
It is worth it. So I am asking you, for the sake of your kids and your grandkids, get into the arena. Every generation has been called to do hard things. American greatness rests in the fact that we always answer that call. It's who we are. Never forget, we are steeped in the blood of patriots who overthrew the most powerful empire in the world. We walk in the footsteps of pioneers who tamed the wild. We now carry forward the same flame of freedom as the liberators of an oppressed Europe. We continue to draw courage from those who bent the moral arc of the universe. And when we gaze upon the heavens, never forget that our DNA contains the same ingenuity that put man on the moon. America has been tested before, and every single time we've emerged unbowed and unbroken. Our history has been written with the grit of men and women who got knocked down. But we know their stories because they did not stay down. We are here because they stood back up.
Oh, but you could have gone home all along. It's almost over. It's almost over. Yeah. Yeah. Or his speech that he gave on Tucker.
So now it's our turn, our moment to stand up and prove ourselves worthy of protecting the American dream. Together, we can reawaken the heroic spirit of a great nation. Because America, we don't just have a rendezvous with destiny. We take destiny's hand and we lead it. Our future starts around kitchen tables just like this, with moms and dads just like you. And you are why I believe with every fiber of my being that despite the current state of our union, our best days are still ahead. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless these United States of America.
I don't know what that was. 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 Dale Grits. Hot take: Katie is Southern peppy, which is touching on points that matter and are true. It's a good contrast to Dark Brandon inside the State of the Union. That is a very hot take. That's a very, very hot take. It's a very, very hot take. Matthew. I have great respect for Jim Caviezel. I have no idea about links in social media. To know him more personally, I recommend his interview on the Sean Ryan Show, number 64, where you can find it.
President Biden laid out his agenda in the State of the Union address tonight. By contrast,
if I show another 3, if you hear another 3 seconds of that, this entire stream will be blocked because that douchebag, as if he has any sort of talent at all. Yeah, that really sucked more than I can say. This was funny. This was pretty funny, Matthew. You were screaming, "I have to watch her." You were screaming, "I have to watch her." But this was funny. That really sucked more. That was terrible. That was terrible. That was so bad. Oh my God, that was bad. I think I might have lost a couple of smaller super chats. Kaylee was not the right one either. She was not the one. No. Kaylee was not the one. Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. Everyone feels like it has to be a woman who gives a response to the State of the Union. It's like, oh no, we have to show that, like, equality for women. Get the women's vote. Get a woman up there to give the response. Democrats do the same thing with Gretchen Whitmer. Target knowledge. That's probably true too. That was really bad. That was really, really bad. Oh my God, that was so bad. Oh Lord, that was bad. All right. Well, tomorrow I do plan on covering this topic right here. Not this one. We got this one done. This one right here. Is Disney fixable? So that is going to be tomorrow. And I don't know if it's going to be in the morning. I don't know if it's going to be in the afternoon. It's definitely going to be done by like 4 o'clock, the latest. It'll definitely be done by then. And all these times are Eastern, always Eastern. I know some of you are in broken time zones, not Eastern. But yeah, it's definitely going to be, and it's a really good listen. Like I really recommend that. I really recommend, if you haven't heard it, we will watch it. I really recommend you check it out. I'll probably end up doing it on playback TV. I might even end up doing double duty tomorrow. Where I'll do some locals and playback TV. I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out how to like adjust my schedule and make sure I meet all that's expected on me. It's a little harder because I am under the weather, but I am going to try and do it. All right. I'm going to bounce you all over to my friend. It's time for me to do this. It's time for me to start doing that. So let me send you on your way. You done here? Done here. All right. I'll give you all the redirect. You can try to stay away from him. But it doesn't mean you can. It's not working. Oh, he's not streaming. So let's see if there's anyone out there who I know. All right. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you someone who's going to be shocked. He's going to be shocked. He's going to be like, holy moly. He's going to be really shocked. Maybe you like him. Maybe you won't. I don't know. But I'm going to send you to this guy called Sword and Scale. Sword and Scale Murder Stream. I don't even know what you're going to be getting there. Not kidding you. But, yeah. Why does it say scheduled? What? No, that's not going to work. That's not helping you. Forget about that. I'm not sending it to him. That's like coming up. I don't know why. Is he live now? Yeah. All right, I'm going to trash that. Let's give it to. I'm not sure if that's going on now or not. It says it's live. I don't know. Then it says February 24th. All right, I'm going to send you Winning Reality. He's talking about the State of the Union, so maybe you'll like him. Test him out. It's going to shock the hell out of him. He's going to be like, holy hell, who are all these people? And that's a nice thing to do. That's a nice thing to do. I agree with you. Kennedy should have done it. I think people were really upset. I think they were really upset with how bad that was. That was really bad. That's like the worst State of the Union and the worst response ever. That's a nice mix. It's a nice mix. That was the worst. That's what I'm going to tweet out in a moment. Worst State of the Union, worst response ever. Ever. It's like it was a can. Here's my synopsis of it. Okay, I should give my synopsis because you were just watching with me. Okay, if you came late. Biden was basically an angry old man screaming, "Get off my lawn," and telling you how, like, you need to send that the most important thing in the world is that we send all our money to Ukraine, and how America is doing better than ever. Doing better than ever. It was literally just one lie after another about how America is doing better than ever, and yeah, and that if he's going to basically nationalize Roe v. Wade, which wouldn't even be legal if he succeeded. But that's what he's going to do. So, like I said, one lie after another. And it was not a State of the Union as to what it is, because talking about how things are would be humiliating. So he talks about what he's going to be doing. But he started off basically saying how if the first word line out of his mouth is basically if Trump gets elected, it's the end of democracy as we know it. And here's what I'm going to do for you. As if he hasn't been running the show for the last 3 years, or as if all the issues he has with tax code and billionaires who are not paying their fair share is not 100% on him. We never spoke out about this tax code issues before. What proposals did you make in your 4 decades as a senator? So yeah, it's as if he came to Washington, like as if he's coming to Washington as an outsider. I don't even know what the hell. Best line was an observation from Victor David Hansen, where it's like he's complaining about wealthy not paying their taxes while his son is being indicted for failure to pay his taxes. It was pretty hilarious. It's pretty hilarious. That would have been an awesome line if someone screamed out from the Republican side. Make your son pay his taxes. That'd be awesome. That would have been killer. That would have been killer. And then we get a response, which basically sounded like terrible acting of a mom in her kitchen who seemed to be really upset about the border crisis. But it just sounded so plastic, so completely plastic, that it's almost like you could tell she practiced that speech like 47 times, and what emotion she's going to give at this part and that part. It was just very cringe. It was very, very cringe. So that's what we got. It was a fun night. I hope you enjoy my coverage. It seems like people liked it. Please make sure you hit like and subscribe. You also need to be signed up at goodlogic.locals.com. It's free to sign up. It's no cost ever. You never have to pay a penny. There's added coverage that I try giving to people who are contributing. It's kind of like, and people who can't afford it, I basically treat it like it's a museum. Recommended pay. If you can't afford it, hit me up in a DM. I'll give you a code to walk on in. There you go. It's kind of like a recommendation, a recommended offering, sort of to like balance in case YouTube decides we really are sick of this guy. So that's my story. That's a goodlogic.locals.com. You'll find out where I'll be streaming tomorrow. I'll also be at Layback Legal at some point tomorrow. I think that's at noon. And before or after, I will be doing a stream. And that's and then I'll be back Saturday night. If you don't end up catching me because you're in the wrong time zone or you have a life, which is very possible. So in that case, I hope to see you Saturday night. Till then, my friends, take care. Stay happy. One way you can do that is you should do not eat the bugs. And as always, my friends, I say, Godspeed.